In this wild new world, ferocious beasts roam freely, alien races wreak havoc, and dungeons and secret realms are scattered across the landscape. Humanity has adapted by awakening into various professions, battling monsters, and working tirelessly to level up. On the day Lin Lu awakened his profession, he drew the short straw. He became a priest, a role that's popular, but traditionally lacks any real damage-dealing abilities. Our boy Lin Lu was starting to think he got the short end of the staff until something bizarre happened. His skills began to mutate. The blood recovery technique mutates into the bleeding technique. Blessing mutates into curse. Please leave a like as today's like goal is 1,500 likes to hit the subscribe button for more videos. So let's start the story without any delay. The story kicks off 300 years ago when the world decided to throw a surprise party and space cracks began popping up everywhere like bad wallpaper. Out of these cracks, monsters straight out of bedtime stories, the scary ones began spilling into reality. To add a cherry on top of the disaster cake, mysterious secret realms started appearing too. It was the end of the world as everyone knew it, or at least it felt that way. But in the midst of all the mayhem, humanity found a silver lining in the monster-shaped clouds. People began to awaken, unlocking hidden potential that had apparently been snoozing for centuries. Those who were lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, enough to have strong aptitude, didn't just wake up with bedhead. They woke up with superpowers and could awaken into professions and become stronger by exploring the secret realms for treasures and killing monsters to obtain resources. These were called professionals. Today marks the long-awaited moment when students will awaken their hidden talents. Teacher Lin Lu, the one in charge of the awakening ceremony, calls out for a student named Lin Lu to step forward. Lin Lu practically bounces toward the stage, brimming with excitement and confidence. After all, he's not just some ordinary student. He's from another world entirely. He's absolutely certain that he's the most special one in the room, probably expecting everyone to start writing odes to his greatness any second now. As he makes his way up, Lin Lu is already imagining the envious looks on the faces around him. After being just another guy for so long, it's finally time for his big glow-up. This is the moment when he ascends to the highest point and kicks off a brand new life. One where the universe finally acknowledges just how awesome he really is. He then grabs hold of the awakening ball, and in an instant, a blinding light erupts, flooding the room and making it impossible for anyone to see him. The students, squinting against the glare, brace themselves for the reveal, fully expecting Lin Lu to awaken some kind of epic combat profession. Some can already feel the pangs of jealousy creeping in. How could quiet, unassuming Lin Lu, of all people, end up with such a powerful job? After what feels like an eternity, the light finally fades, revealing Lin Lu standing there, staring upward as if this moment is the pinnacle of his existence. He's convinced that this is the most crucial step in his journey to greatness. Then the system window appears and Lin Lu's confidence takes a sudden nosedive. Instead of the awe-inspiring title he's been expecting, the screen reads something else entirely: D rank, priest. For a moment, Lin Lu just stands there, utterly baffled. This isn't the legendary path he had imagined. It's more like the universe handing him a "congratulations, you played yourself" card. Still, at least his awakening was technically successful. A support profession, the priest, rank D, teacher Lin Lu declares. Lin Lu, still trying to process this unexpected twist, walks away from the stage. As he moves through the crowd, he catches snippets of what the other students are saying. Apparently, the priest profession is all about healing wounds, curing diseases, and getting rid of abnormal conditions. A far cry from the glorious combat role he had envisioned. Some of the students can't help but point out that it's usually girls who awaken this profession. The idea that Lin Lu, of all people, ended up with it has them whispering in disbelief. Lin Lu can't help but feel like he's just been cast in the wrong role. Lin Lu hears the students snickering, throwing around the nickname male nurse as if it's the punchline to some cosmic joke. He doesn't bother responding. His disappointment is already doing enough talking for him. Just when he thinks he's hit rock bottom, a group of male students approaches, trying to lift his spirits. They assure him that being a priest is way better than ending up with a profession like cooking or sweeping. After all, plenty of people don't awaken any profession at all. They remind him that support professions like his are actually pretty rare. One of the guys even insists that the nurse is the backbone of the whole team, trying to make it sound like a compliment. Another friend, not missing a chance to tease, taps Lin Lu on the shoulder and playfully calls him Nurse Lu, urging him to show off his new powers. Lin Lu, fueled by a mix of frustration and irony, warns them not to test his patience. With an evil grin, he tells them to wait for the moment when they will need his help, then most certainly, he will let them bleed to death. The three idiots suddenly realize that maybe, just maybe, it's not the smartest idea to tick off the one person who can either save their skins or let them bleed out. The fear in their eyes is enough to make Lin Lu smirk internally. They quickly backtrack, remembering that a priest isn't just a healer, but the key to a second chance at life. Satisfied that they've gotten the message, Lin Lu decides to drive the point home. He tells them to ditch the male nurse nonsense and, with a mischievous grin, suggests they call them something with a little more respect, like Daddy. In the professional ranks, players are classified from S down to D, with D rank being the weakest. To top it off, Lin Lu is stuck as a support class player, someone who hands out the spotlight to others instead of basking in it himself. He feels so low that he dreams of flying high, only to find himself helping others spread their wings. Just when Lin Lu is about to sink deeper into his funk, his best friend, Tang Cheng, a C-rank knight, shows up. Tang Cheng gives him a pep talk, encouraging him not to lose heart and suggesting they team up to level up together. Lin Lu, with a wry smile, remarks that with one of them being a healer and the other a tank, they'll end up as nothing more than monster punching bags. It's a strategy, just not the glamorous one. Just as Lin Lu and Tang Cheng are sharing their thoughts, a powerful, dazzling light bursts onto the stage, almost blinding them both. As the light slowly fades, they squint to see who it is, only to discover it's Lian Yining. She's just awakened as a professional snow princess, and to everyone's surprise, she's ranked A. The other students can't help but feel a twinge of envy, knowing that Lian Yining is not only the school's most beautiful girl, but is also awakened with an A-rank profession. It's like she's the complete package: brains, beauty, and now undeniable power. While Lian Yining stands on stage, basking in her newfound glory, Lin Lu can't help but stare, amazed by her transformation. Even the teacher, Lai Yu, chimes in, pointing out that with a profession like that, Lian Yining could have her pick of colleges across the country. Lian Yining gracefully thanks the teacher, and the awakening ceremony for the remaining students continues. Meanwhile, Lin Lu, curious about his own potential, decides to open his system window to check out his attribute panel. As he scrolls through his skills, something catches his eye, a skill called Skin Bursting Technique. Confused, Lin Lu wonders what kind of skill this could be. The system helpfully explains that it's a mutated skill with some rather gruesome effects. It can cause the target's skin to burst instantly, ignoring 50% of their defense and inflicting severe pain and bleeding damage. It's definitely not your everyday support skill, unless you're supporting and they make your enemies wish they never met you kind of way. Examining the skill, he can't help but notice its twisted similarity to a healing ability, except this one takes the concept of healing and turns it on its head. Where healing skills close wounds and ease pain, this skin-bursting techniques seems to do the exact opposite, creating wounds and practically pouring salt on them for good measure. The more he thinks about it, the more convinced he becomes that this definitely doesn't belong in a priest's skill set. With his current low level and lack of skill points, he can't upgrade any new skills just yet, but Lin Lu can't help but wonder, with a mix of curiosity and dread, what an upgraded version of this explosive skill might look like. Lin Lu suddenly flinches as it dawns on him. His original basic skill might have been healing, but it mutated into this skin-bursting technique. This realization hits him like a bolt of lightning. If his healing skill can mutate, then maybe he has the potential to create his own unique mutated skills. Intrigued by the possibilities, he quickly grabs his phone, thinking this new skill is definitely worth experimenting with. As he's about to dive into his plan, Tang Cheng interrupts, asking what he's up to. Lin Lu casually replies that he's buying a skill book, prompting Tang Cheng to jokingly remind him that, oh right, Lin Lu is still an invincible, rich second generation. Tang Cheng then recalls that Lin Lu's mother, a navigator by profession, has been away for years and asks if she has returned recently. Lin Lu shakes his head and tells Tang Cheng that he spoke to his mother just 3 months ago. He's pretty sure she's on the other side of the sea now, and she mentioned that after this trip, she might finally get to rest for a month. Just then, teacher Lai Yu announces that the career awakening is over, giving everyone permission to head home and offering congratulations to those who awakened to combat classes. As the students stand up, Lin Lu wastes no time, dashing out the door and leaving Tang Cheng behind without a word. As Lin Lu hurries away, Tang Cheng calls out, asking why he's in such a rush. Lin Lu quickly replies that he has something urgent to take care of. It turns out that Lin Lu had placed an order for 2 new skills, so he was excited to get home and see what kind of mutations he could create. His anticipation was through the roof. Who wouldn't be curious about turning ordinary skills into something extraordinary? As he hurries off, Lian Yining and Tang Cheng exchange concerned glances. They assume that Lin Lu is feeling down about awakening as a priest, a class they know isn't exactly glamorous. A few minutes later, Lin Lu arrives at his house just as the delivery truck pulls up. He eagerly receives the package, and without wasting any time, he settles onto the couch, ready to test out his new skills. The skills he bought are recovery art and calmness art, and he's hoping for some explosive results, literally. Lin Lu eagerly dives into learning his new skills, and to his surprise, the mutation process kicks in immediately. Within a minute, he masters both skills, which now come with new ominous names: blood fever and pain intensification. Blood fever is a mutated skill that cranks up the target's blood temperature by 2 to 5 degrees in an instant, causing severe internal injuries and a slew of negative effects like coma, nausea, and overall sluggishness. It's like turning the heat up on a pot until it boils over, except the pot is a person. Pain intensification, on the other hand, is a skill that amplifies the pain experienced by the target, doubling their agony. It's basically turning every small ouch into a major ouch. Lin Lu's excitement is palpable as he imagines the chaos that would ensue if he combined his skin-bursting technique with blood fever and pain intensification. It's the kind of combination that makes you wonder if he's trying to craft the ultimate bad day experience for his enemies. He never expected to have the power to mutate his skills so dramatically, and with this newfound ability, he's confident no one will ever underestimate him as just a male nurse again. Just as he's reveling in his thoughts of creating havoc, his phone buzzes with a notification. It's an alert that he's been added to the group chat for the pre-exam practice group, a chat organized by teacher Lin Lu. Lin Lu checks the group chat and sees that both Lian Yining and Tang Cheng are also included. He quickly figures out that this group is for those who have awakened combat professions, basically a way to bring together all the newly minted fighters. Teacher Lin Lu informs everyone that they have 10 days of rest before heading to the trial tower for their exam. The school has planned a training session for all combat professionals over the next 10 days. The faculty expects everyone to join in enthusiastically and work on boosting their skills to the highest level before the exam in 10 days. Meanwhile, students who wish to move around freely or have other plans, the school has specially provided a trail location. Lin Lu becomes excited upon learning all this. He is eager to prove he is the strongest of them all. He imagines himself using his skills to defeat many opponents, already planning his victory dance, which involves a lot of dramatic posing and maybe a few unnecessary flips. The next day, 2 ladies stroll through the court, one of them being Lian Yining. Her friend notices she's sad and suspects it's because of Lin Luo. Lian Yining denies it, but her eyes give her away. Her friend reminds her that things have changed. Lian Yining has awakened in an A-rank profession, and after graduation, she could enter any college across the country, unlike Lin Luo. The distance between them will only grow. She encourages Lian Yining to express her feelings to Lin Lu as soon as possible, hinting that keeping emotions bottled up is as useful as a chocolate teapot. Lian Yining hesitates, unsure. Just then, a man approaches them. It's Yang Haoran, a magic swordsman. He asks Lian Yining if it's true she has also awakened an A-rank profession and inquires which college she plans to attend. Yang, from Class 1, has been pursuing Lian Yining for a long time. Now that he has also awakened in an A-rank profession, many students believe they are a good match. However, everything still hinges on Lian Yining's decision, much like how a cat's willingness to cuddle depends on whether you have a warm lap or just an empty promise of one. Lian Yining corrects him, insisting he use her full name. Her friend stares at her, hoping she'll refuse Yang outright without sparing his feelings. Lian Yining pulls her friend's hand and walks away, telling Yang that her choice of college is her own decision and has nothing to do with him. Her friend silently cheers, impressed by her friend's bluntness, while Yang stands there, feeling like he just got hit by a flying textbook. Yang feels annoyed, convinced that Lian Yining is just pretending to be noble. He knows she secretly has a crush on Lin Luo, who only awakened as a D-rank priest, so he believes he still has a chance with her in the future. But since Lian Yining didn't spare him any dignity this time, he decides to be merciless with her. Meanwhile, Lin Lu heads to the Demon Rat Plains, an area located northwest of Demonized Town, teeming with cunning demonized giant rats. These low-level monsters are ideal for novice professionals to level up and range from levels 1 to 20. Just as Lin Lu arrives, he sees that others are already there. These low-level monsters are close to his home and convenient to reach. He plans to use this place to test out his mutated skills, hoping the giant rats don't mind being his unwitting test subjects. Clearing the Demon Rat Plains requires a level 5 or above professional or an elite team. Warriors, knights, druids, and other professionals resistant to physical damage are given priority, as is exclusive equipment. The area buzzes with people searching for companions, but Lin Luo remains unbothered. While walking, a lady with red hair approaches him, noting that he looks the same age as her niece. She asks if he's a student who just awakened his profession and warns him about the dangers. She offers him to team up, mentioning that she will protect him. Lin Luo thanks her for the offer, but politely declines, informing her that he prefers to hunt alone. He then walks away, leaving the lady to wonder if he's brave, foolish, or just really into solo adventuring. Just then, a man approaches a lady, addressing her as Sister King. Curious, he asked about the identity of the kid who had just left. Sister King, with a thoughtful expression, admits that she's only just met him at this event. She found him intriguing and wanted to offer her protection, but it seems her intentions weren't exactly appreciated by the young man. The man, still skeptical, comments that a kid who doesn't grasp how high the sky really is probably hasn't seen the many fallen rookies who've met their end with demon rats. To him, there doesn't seem to be anything particularly fascinating about this newcomer. Sister King, however, offers a different perspective. She explains that most newly awakened recruits are usually bubbling with excitement and exuberance for their first hunt, yet this kid exhibits a rare calmness that stands out. To her, this composure indicates not only confidence but also a level of self-control that's uncommon in someone just starting out. However, the excitement isn't just about Lin Lu. She tells him that Xiao has uncovered the coordinates for a special monster, and the promise of a huge profit from this hunt is too tempting to ignore. The lady, with a determined look, urges everyone to stay sharp and ensure they aren't overtaken by anyone else. While walking in the opposite direction, Lin Lu eventually reaches the monster area and witnesses a chaotic scene. People struggle to fight off the demon rats, which have an alarmingly high attack rate. Lin Lu takes cover in a tree, observing a demonized rat nearby. This particular demon rat is a level 2 monster, boasting 11 points of power, 12 points of physical strength, 16 points of agility, 12 points of spirit, and a hefty 200 health points. Its skills include Bite, Bloodthirsty, and Virus Spread. The demon rats, infused with demonic energy, become incredibly vicious and ruthless. When their numbers surpass 1,000, they can unleash a terrifying rat tide, turning the situation into a nightmarish swarm. Although this demon rat is considered a beginner-level monster, Lin Lu is well aware that its attribute values are double those of ordinary professionals. This high difficulty is exactly why most people form teams before venturing into this area. Lin Lu decides to test out his first skill, the skin-bursting technique. With a burst of power, he creates a powerful explosion that instantly dispatches the rat. As the monster falls, Lin Lu receives a notification that he has gained an additional 60 experience points. Lin Lu stands speechless, stunned by the unexpected power of his mutated skill. He had anticipated that it would be challenging for any ordinary combat professional to take down these demon rats, but as a priest, he manages to defeat one in mere seconds. Eager to test his luck, Lin Lu uses his second skill, Blood Fever. The rat, unable to withstand the onslaught, spews blood before collapsing in an instant. Lin Lu receives another notification, adding 60 more experience points to his tally. Lin Lu observes that while Blood Fever isn't as rapid as skin-bursting technique, it still packs a punch, thanks to its continuous blood loss effect. After dispatching the rat, he levels up almost immediately, confirming that hunting alone has its advantages. Now to level 1, Lin Lu notices his skill points have increased by 1 and he has gained 4 attribute points. For a hidden profession, getting 4 attribute points isn't too shabby. Still, Lin Lu has high hopes for even more improvements as he continues to level up. After all, he is just a D-rank priest in a support class profession, and he's determined to make the most out of every opportunity that comes his way. Understanding that casting speed and skill effects are linked to intelligence, Lin Lu decides to invest all his attribute points into this stat. With the first 2 skills proving effective, he plans to test out his final skill by attacking another rat with pain intensification. A purple smoke envelops the rat, but initially nothing seems to happen. Lin Lu watches in confusion as the rat suddenly charges at him. It's then he realizes the pain intensification skill proves to be more about discomfort than actual damage, as the rat suffers but remains unharmed. When the rat leaps at him, Lin Lu quickly dispatches it with his skin-bursting technique, which the rats can't withstand. Given the effectiveness of skin-bursting technique and the lack of need for extra pain, Lin Lu concludes that pain intensification might be more useful against boss monsters. After a few days of relentless hunting, Lin Lu successfully takes down level 10 rat demons and racks up a substantial amount of experience. Each time he defeats one of these formidable foes, he earns 880 experience points. By now, Lin Lu has reached level 10. His skill points increase by 1 with each level, and he also gains 4 attribute points and an additional skill point. Alongside these gains, he unlocks a new skill, adding another tool to his growing arsenal. Lin Lu relishes his solo hunting sessions, marveling at how he has reached level 10 in just 6 days, an impressive feat. With his skill points now available, he eagerly anticipates unlocking his new skill. He's presented with 2 intriguing options. The first option is Influenza Virus Technique, a mutated skill that, once learned, induces a severe influenza state in the target. This causes all flu symptoms to manifest almost instantly, making the target feel as if they've been hit by a truckload of germs. The second option is Diarrhea, another mutated skill that can be learned at level 10. This skill infects the target with bacteria, viruses, and parasites, effectively turning their insides into a chaotic mess. While both skills offer unique ways to incapacitate enemies, Lin Lu contemplates which one will be more beneficial. It's a choice between a flu that could make his enemies miserable or a condition that might just have them running for the nearest restroom. To acquire skills from the skill tree, a hunter must maintain a consistent level. It's far less convenient than learning from skill books. Skill points are scarce and can only be obtained through specific means, advancing every 10 levels, defeating bosses, exploring secret realms, or finding rare treasures. Despite his curiosity about the skill options, Lin Lu, as a priest, decides to select the diarrhea skill. As soon as he confirms his choice, he hears a rat squeaking and charging toward him. It turns out to be a formidable foe, a demonized giant rat leader. This level 15 demon race boasts 41 points in strength, 38 points in physique, 53 points in speed, 29 points in spirit, and a whopping 2,500 HP. Its skills include Bite, Bloodthirsty, Virus Transmission, and Summoning Rat Swarms. The demonized giant rat leader, fueled by demonic energy, is the most powerful among the demonized giant rats in the area, making it a fearsome opponent. Lin Luo realizes he's become the prime target of the boss monster, probably because he's been on a monster-slaying binge recently. The rat makes a move, attempting to claw at him, but Lin Luo, not one to be outdone, slices off its hand with his skin-bursting technique. The rat leader squeaks in pain, while Lin Lu confirms to himself that his skin-bursting technique conveniently ignores the defense. Not one to miss an opportunity, he attacks the rat leader again, this time with a potent mix of skin-bursting, blood fever, and pain intensification. At this point, the rat leader might be regretting ever leaving its cozy little rat hole. The rat leader was in so much pain, Lin Lu was staring at it, believing that at least 10 level 10 ordinary professionals are needed to deal with it, but seems like he can defeat it with his powerful mutated skills. As Lin Lu continues attacking the rat leader, a group of onlookers watches him, laughing and making snide comments about how weak the giant rat leader seems. One of them, clearly unimpressed, mentions that he told the others they'd eventually stumble upon a worthy opponent if they just kept walking. Lin Luo, with his sharp ears, catches this remark. Lin Lu glances at them, and the shortest guy steps forward, declaring that all the monsters in this area belong to their Sea-Star Guild. He warns Lin Lu to leave if he doesn't want a beating. Lin Lu chuckles, amused, and thinks to himself, really, this is going to be interesting. In the end, Lin Lu decides to let the men have a go at the rat leader. He casually leans against a tree, watching as they attempt to bring the beast down. Despite their combined efforts, they start to struggle against the rat leader, which puts a slight smirk on Lin Lu's face. One of the men, bald and increasingly uneasy, mutters to the others that he's more worried about the kid who gave up the fight so easily. He suspects Lin Lu doesn't have the best of intentions. Lin Lu, fully aware that they're talking about him, flashes them a peace sign with a grin that suggests he's enjoying the show more than he should. Their boss, clearly annoyed, declares that no one messes with their guild unless they got a death wish. He orders everyone to brace themselves for the next attack. But just as they're gearing up, the curly-haired guy suddenly clutches his stomach, groaning in pain. His face turns pale as he desperately announces that he can't hold it any longer. Before anyone can react, his pants tear and a rather unfortunate explosion of poop splatters everywhere. His companions recoil in disgust, their faces contorting as they complain about the horrendous smell. The leader, gagging, declares that the stench is more lethal than a poison bomb, as everyone else struggles to keep their lunch down. The rat lunges at the curly-haired guy who is struggling to focus amidst the chaos. Meanwhile, Lin Lu can't help but chuckle at the scene. He casually removes his one-ear pod, remarking to himself that it seems everyone's having a blast. Little did they know, Lin Lu had discreetly activated his diarrhea skill, leading to the curly guy's unfortunate bathroom emergency. Just then, the leader of the group also drops to the ground, clutching his stomach in agony. Lin Lu strolls toward them with an air of calm confidence. With a quick activation of his pain intensification skill, followed by his trusty skin-bursting technique, Lin Lu swiftly dispatches the entire group, rat leader included. For taking down the rat leader, Lin Lu bags a cool 16,700 experience points, enough to bump him up to level 11. As if on cue, all of his attribute values get a nice little boost, increasing by 1, and he picks up 4 extra attribute points to play around with. But the real surprise comes when he checks his loot. Along with the usual materials like giant rat fur, fangs, and demonic rat eyes, he also scores some rare equipment and, wait for it, a skill book. Now, normally bosses are stingy and only drop materials. Getting equipment is like finding a needle in a haystack, and a skill book. That's a once-in-a-thousand chance. Lin Lu can't help but chuckle as he realizes his solo hunting spree must have given the drop rate a little nudge in his favor. Lin Lu holds the demonic rat eye in his hand, examining it with a satisfied grin. This piece of equipment is exactly what he needs. It boosts spiritual energy and speeds up recovery, ticking all the boxes for his current build. Confidently, he puts it on, expecting some dramatic change, but nothing happens. He quickly deduces that passive skills and equipment skills must be immune to mutation, unlike some of the other abilities he's tweaked. The giant rat's eye, despite its humble appearance, is a black iron piece of jewelry that adds 2 points to spirit and 1 point to agility. It's not just shiny, it's durable too, boasting a full 20/20ths on the durability scale. Even better, it comes with a passive meditation skill, giving a neat 5% boost to spiritual power recovery speed. Lin Lu eagerly grabs the scroll, ready to learn the new skill right away. As he unrolls it, he discovers that the skill is called virus transmission, a nasty little ability that only mages, priests, warlocks, and oddly enough, pharmacists can use. The skill allows the user to spread a virus that poisons enemies within range, dealing damage and weakening their magic defense. It only takes Lin Lu a minute to absorb the knowledge, and just like that, he's mastered the skill. It's officially dubbed Black Death Outbreak, an A-rank mutation skill with some seriously sinister potential. This skill lets him spread the Black Death to a target or over a certain area in no time flat. What's even more impressive is that he can control the timing of the outbreak, making it as contagious as he wants. And if things get a little too messy, the skill master, that's him, of course, can cancel a Black Death virus at any time. Lin Lu recognizes the ominous power behind the Black Death, also known as the Plague, a name that sends shivers down the spines of historians and sorcerers alike. It's notorious for being highly contagious and deadly, responsible for one of the most horrific pandemics in history, wiping out nearly 30 million people. In the world of magic, it could easily rival a large forbidden spell, a weapon of mass destruction in the wrong hands. Of course, Lin Lu's version of the Black Death is currently just level 1, far from reaching that terrifying potential. But he's no fool. He knows better than to underestimate its power. If he were to combine it with his pain intensification skill, he's confident he could create a highly lethal plague, one that could easily turn the tide of any battle. He then glances at the other materials he acquired. They're valuable, no doubt, but for now, he decides to stash them in his space pocket. Suddenly, a space crack appears behind Lin Luo, widening ominously until it reveals the entrance to a secret realm. His eyes widen as he realizes this is the secret realm of new life, a rare, undiscovered one at that. This particular realm is called the Scarlet Altar, a hard difficulty realm. It's designed for those between levels 10 and 15, and only 10 professionals can enter at a time. Unlike dungeons, secret realms are a whole different beast with the added thrill and risk of potentially collapsing at any moment. However, the rewards are just as enticing as the danger, with an abundance of monsters, rare equipment, and natural materials waiting inside. Lin Lu knows that the stakes are high. Once someone enters this realm, it's game on, the entrance will close, and the realm itself will disappear forever once cleared. The secret realm won't open again until those inside either give up, die, or pass the trial. Lin Lu knows this all too well. The rewards from a secret realm are far more valuable than those from demons of the same level, which is why every appearance of one sparks a frenzy among professionals. Both dungeons and secret realms are typically divided into 4 difficulty levels: normal, hard, nightmare, and hell. The tougher the challenge, the greater the rewards. The secret realm Lin Lu is about to enter is classified as hard, making it a formidable challenge, especially for a solo adventurer like him. Clearing it alone would be no easy feat. He considers going back to gather a team, but there's a catch. If he leaves now, someone else might swoop in and claim the secret realm for themselves. The risk is too high, and Lin Lu isn't one to let an opportunity slip through his fingers. It's a gamble, but then again, that's what makes the game interesting. Holding the key to the secret realm, Lin Lu takes a deep breath and decides to take the plunge, whether it leads to fortune or disaster. Just as he steps into the realm, a group led by King, the same lady who had approached Lin Lu when he first arrived in the area, passes by the entrance. They're discussing their latest mission when King's sharp eyes catch sight of the secret realm. Excitement buzzes through the group as they believe they stumbled upon the realm first. The thrill of discovering such a rare opportunity lights up their faces until they realize the bitter truth. Their excitement quickly fizzles out when they remember that their levels are already at 30, far above the realm's maximum entry level of 15. They were well aware that the price of a newly opened secret realm had skyrocketed, with the going rate now at a hefty 3 million yuan. Qing, however, quickly corrects them, pointing out that the current value has actually risen to 4 million yuan, a figure that makes their eyes widen in surprise. In an unexpected move, Qing turns to her 3 male companions and proposes a deal, They can share this money on one condition. They have to leave the secret realm entirely to her. The men are stunned by King's unexpected offer. The tall guy, always the voice of caution, suggests they take a beat before jumping to conclusions, especially since they still don't know if anyone has already ventured into the secret realm. But King, cool as a cucumber, is already a step ahead. She scouted the area and seen only a handful of novices wandering around, and as per her assessment, none of whom pose any real threat. If one of those poor souls has actually entered the realm, King is pretty confident that they're not going to last long, probably about as long as a snowball in a furnace. With a hint of pride, she mentions that her niece recently awakened her profession, and by now she's probably hovering around level 10. King is determined to claim this secret realm as a special gift for her niece. Lin Lu is already deep inside the Scarlet Altar, and the weight of his mission is starting to settle in. He's got two main tasks ahead of him. Eliminate all the monsters lurking in the cave and destroy the ominous Scarlet Altar itself. This cave, once a sacred place for the orc and lizard people of another world, has long since lost its sanctity. 100 years ago, it was overrun by demonic energy, corrupting every lizard person living here and transforming them into bloodthirsty monsters that exist solely to kill. The moment someone steps into the secret realm, the mission details appear immediately, and when one clears the mission, secret realm will also be cleared. For Lin Lu, this mission is a tall order. The difficulty level is cranked up to seriously challenging, and he knows he's in for a rough ride. The beasts lurking in the Scarlet Altar are known as demonized lizards, a race of creatures corrupted by demonic energy. These creatures come with two primary skills, hammer and charge. Once infected by the demonic energy, these lizard men become incredibly bloodthirsty and cruel. Their rough skin and meaty bodies make them formidable foes, but they do have a glaring weakness. They naturally fear magic. These demonized lizards are level 15, boasting 20 strength, 22 constitution, a paltry 1 in speed, 3 in spirit, and a whopping 1,800 health. Their stats and health are nearly half as high as the demonized giant rat leader, which leads Lin Lu to conclude that they're just ordinary monsters, despite their intimidating appearance. Luckily for him, their intelligence is embarrassingly low, and they don't pack much in the way of spirit power. As Lin Lu eyes the two lizards lurking nearby, they suddenly spot him. Without wasting a second, he takes off running with the lizards hot on his trail. It doesn't take long for Lin Lu to realize that these creatures have a sharp sense for tracking him down, making it nearly impossible to sneak past them. Deciding that enough is enough, Lin Lu halts his escape and turns to face the pursuing lizards. He quickly taps into his abilities, launching an attack with his skin-bursting technique and, for good measure, his notorious diarrhea skill. One lizard meets his swift end, beheaded by the force of his strike, while the other, well, let's just say it has a rather unfortunate accident. The stench that follows is enough to make even Lin Lu gag. The cave's poor ventilation doesn't help matters, turning the whole place into a suffocating nightmare. The smell is so overpowering that Lin Lu quickly decides this particular skill might do him in before it ever takes down the monsters. Holding his nose and trying to keep his stomach settled, he makes a mental note to retire the diarrhea skill for now. Realizing he needs to get serious, Lin Lu prepares to cast another, more reliable skill, as he readies himself, muttering that it's time to test his newly acquired skill. Outside the secret realm, King and her men gather, and it turns out that the niece King was mentioning is Lian Yining. Lian Yining, with a beaming smile, is proudly carrying a glow cat she found in the dark forests. She shows it off to her aunt, proudly noting that this is no ordinary cat, it possesses healing skills. King, always the doting aunt, agrees that the cat is indeed adorable, but before they can fawn over it too much, King gently takes the cat from Lian Yining and shifts gears to something even more exciting. She informs her niece that she's discovered a secret realm that is perfect for her. A realm that will serve as her birthday gift. King introduces the men standing behind her, explaining that they are hand-picked bodyguards from their clan, each currently at level 15. With this elite team in tow, King is confident that Lian Yining will not only reap great rewards from the secret realm, but also remain absolutely safe. The guards, ever dutiful, vow to protect Lian Yining with their lives, assuring her that she has nothing to fear. Although Lian Yining graciously accepts her aunt's gift, she secretly wishes she could assemble her own team instead. But how can she refuse her aunt's well-meaning gesture? So with a polite smile, she goes along with the plan, knowing that sometimes family kindness comes with strings attached. Lian Yining approaches the secret realm's entrance, listening as King explains that this is a newly opened realm. King tells her to hurry and enter it, warning her that if other families catch wind of it, they won't be able to avoid conflicts over who gets to claim it. Lian Yining confidently steps forward, ready to enter, but the gate refuses to let her pass. Instead of smoothly entering, she's abruptly repelled and sent flying backward. Fortunately, Her aunt is quick on her feet and catches her before she can crash to the ground. The men quickly piece together the situation, concluding that someone must already be inside the realm. This realization leaves them frustrated, knowing that none of them can enter as long as it's occupied. King confidently declares that the person inside is likely some clueless rookie who stumbled upon the secret realm by accident. She doesn't seem too concerned, though, as she's more than willing to wait until the unfortunate soul inside meets their inevitable demise. However, she can't hide her irritation at not being able to enter the realm herself due to her level exceeding the limit. The unexpected presence of someone already inside only adds to her annoyance. Lion Yinning also seems curious and a bit perplexed about who would dare to enter the secret realm before her. Meanwhile, Lin Lu successfully takes down the level 15 demonized lizard using his newly acquired skill, Black Death Outbreak. The victory rewards him with 1,740 experience points and a nice piece of demonized lizard skin, pushing him up to level 12. With this level up, all his attribute values get a boost, and he earns 4 shiny new attribute points to allocate. The truly terrifying aspect of Black Death is its contagious nature, but luckily, Lin Lu can control it at any moment. In an open field of monsters spread out in all directions, this skill might not be as potent since its spread would be limited. However, the cave he's in is a different story. It's massive but nearly sealed off, with poor ventilation and a high density of monsters. In this environment, Black Death could easily spread like wildfire. Lin Lu imagines a scenario where he could just sit back and level up while the plague does all the heavy lifting. But of course, there's a catch. Charging in and unleashing the skill isn't as simple as it sounds. The cave is crawling with so many lizards that he might not even have a chance to lift a finger before they swarm him. Lin Lu concludes that the most effective strategy is to find a pathogen, an infectious agent that can spread the virus among the lizards. However, he knows that the average lizard's limited range of movement might make it difficult to spread the infection widely. Right now, the lizards are roaming the cave, but his eyes land on a particularly notable one, a white lizard known as a demonized albino lizard. This albino lizard is no ordinary creature. It's also a level 15 monster, but it's packing some serious stats: 35 strength, 38 physique, 11 speed, and 4 spirit power, with a hefty 5,500 HP to top it all off. Its skills include hammer, charge, and durability aura, making it a variant of the demonized lizard that's both powerful and tough. Its rough skin provides strong physical defense, but fortunately for Lin Luo, it still shares the same natural fear of magic as its kin. This albino lizard is an elite monster, and it seems like the perfect target to Lin Luo. Wasting no time, he launches his Black Death Outbreak at the creature. The attack takes immediate effect, leaving the albino lizard momentarily stiff and clearly harmed. Its minions, noticing something off, gather around, worriedly asking what's wrong. But after a few tense seconds, the albino lizard shakes it off and commands its minions to resume patrolling the cave as if nothing happened. The lizards obediently head toward their main hall, unaware of the invisible danger now lurking among them. Lin Lu, ever the patient strategist, decides to wait for the virus to spread. He's banking on the infection spreading exponentially through the cave, turning this enclosed space into a viral hotspot. As he observes the lizards, Lin Lu can't help but notice their complete lack of hygiene. These creatures don't seem to care about cleanliness. If they see a spot, they probably just assume it's dirt and move on. This careless behavior only strengthens his belief that the virus will spread rapidly, with the lizards unknowingly becoming carriers. Lin Luo raises his staff and decides that the time is right to unleash the full force of the Black Death Outbreak. With a flick of his wrist, he activates the skill right where the lizards are gathered. The area erupts in a wave of dark energy, and the lizards begin hissing in agony. To Lin Lu's surprise, the outbreak proves even more effective than he anticipated. The lizards are killed instantly, leaving behind a trail of experience points just waiting to be collected. As the notifications of his level ups flood in, Lin Lu is taken aback by the sheer speed at which he's gaining levels. In just a few short minutes, he skyrockets to level 15. This rapid progress only confirms what he suspected all along: a newly opened secret realm is a goldmine for experience points, a perfect place to level up quickly. With a satisfied grin, Lin Lu walks toward the aftermath of the outbreak, but his moment of triumph is tempered when he discovers that some of the elite monsters are still clinging to life. Suddenly, his attention is drawn to one lizard that remains standing on the stage. It's a crimson lizardman priest, a silver lord, currently in a weakened state. This formidable creature is at level 20, boasting 25 strength, 14 speed, 48 physique, and an impressive 52 spirit power. Its current HP sits at 3,200 out of 4,800, a significant drop but still enough to make it a formidable opponent. The lizardman's skills include flame healing, spirit shock, physique fire, blood entanglement, and beast transformation, a roster that spells trouble for any would-be challenger. Lin Lu quickly deduces that this crimson lizardman isn't just another elite monster. It's the boss of this area, the one who has been guarding the dark scarlet altar. A product of long evolution and exposure to evil spirits, this creature has awakened a small amount of wisdom, making it even more dangerous. As Lin Lu watches, he realizes that the lizardman is likely about to use his healing skill, and if that happens, the battle could take a much tougher turn. Lin Lu doesn't waste a second. Seeing the lizardman priest in its weakened state, he immediately launches an attack using his skin-bursting technique, aiming to take it down before it can recover. He follows up with another strike, this time combining the same skill with his pain intensification and blood fever abilities. The boss lizard roars in agony, but its resistance doesn't last long. Within seconds, it collapses and dies. Lin Lu breathes a sigh of relief. Taking down a boss monster is never easy, but this one fell quickly thanks to its weakened condition. For a moment, he savors the victory, knowing how challenging it can be to eliminate monsters and bosses one after another. With the boss out of the way, Lin Lu turns his attention to the remaining elite monsters, intending to finish them off quickly and then destroy the altar. But just as he's about to move, something unexpected happens. The remaining elite monsters suddenly rush toward the boss's corpse. To his horror, they begin devouring the boss's remains and, in a grotesque turn of events, start fusing together. At this moment, Lin Lu feels a sinking dread in the pit of his stomach. His worst fears are realized when the fused lizards complete their transformation, resulting in a horrifying new creature, a level 21 violent mutated albino lizard priest. This monstrous creation boasts 40 strength, 49 physique, 14 speed, and 27 spirit, with a staggering 8,000 HP. Its skill set is nothing short of terrifying, including heavy hammer, charge, blood boiling, metal shock, blood entanglement, and beast transformation. To make matters worse, this newly formed albino lizard is not just any monster. It's a flying, demonized creature that now carries the Black Death virus within it. By devouring the Lord's corpse in a fit of extreme anger, the evil energy and virus inside the lizard have struck a precarious balance, making it even more powerful. Lin Lu stares at the mutated creature, nerves on edge. He knows that this demonized lizard is far more dangerous than anything he's encountered before. With its dual effects and enhanced abilities, this battle is shaping up to be one of his toughest yet. Lin Lu's worry deepens as he realizes the terrifying combination of skills this monster possesses, a deadly mix of melee and magic abilities that seems almost criminal to have all at once. To make matters worse, he's utterly exhausted, drained of the energy needed to use his own skills. Swiftly, the violent albino lizard lunges at him, and Lin Lu barely manages to dodge out of the way. Desperately, Lin Lu reaches for his magic power potion, knowing that without it, he stands no chance of fighting back. He quickly sips the potion, but before he can even feel the effects, the albino lizard again charges at him with lightning speed and lands a brutal punch. The force sends Lin Lu crashing into the ground, the impact rattling his bones. Frustration bubbles up as he realizes the monster isn't giving him a moment to catch his breath, let alone recover. The violent albino lizard activates its blood entanglement skill, a move that Lin Lu knows is incredibly dangerous. Without a second thought, he bolts, running as fast as his legs can carry him. As he dashes away, he turns around, still sipping his magic potion, and quickly unleashes his Black Death skill toward the albino lizard. But the violent albino, proving it's no easy target, leaps out of the way with surprising agility. Lin Lu's attack ends up hitting a lesser demonized lizard lying on the ground instead, turning an unintended target into an unlucky victim. The violent albino immediately counters, lunging at Lin Luo, but he manages to dodge just in time, still gulping down his potion mid-jump. Lin Lu is momentarily surprised that the violent albino managed to dodge his attack, but he quickly brushes it off. After all, the creature isn't his main target. The violent albino roars in fury and charges at him, clearly determined to land a blow. As it closes in, Lin Lu unleashes his Black Death skill on the surrounding area, spreading the virus far and wide. He's panting heavily, his HP nearly at rock bottom, but his MP is now fully restored, just as he planned. The violent albino, seemingly gloating, lets out another roar as if mocking Lin Lu, confident that none of his skills can touch it, no matter how much potion he drinks. Lin Lu, though unable to understand the lizard's taunts, responds with a smirk, knowing full well he has the upper hand. He calmly points out that if the albino thinks it has any chance of winning, it should take a good look around first. Lin Luo reveals that while he's been using his Black Death skill, his true target was never the violent albino. Instead, his main focus has been the countless corpses scattered around them. He knows that the virus festering in these corpses has become extremely concentrated, and he's got a plan that hinges on this dangerous buildup. With his mana fully restored, Lin Lu prepares to unleash one decisive skill. He's confident that if these corpses were to explode, it would result in a viral feast of catastrophic proportions. The violent albino may have dodged his initial attacks, but it's about to find itself in the middle of a deadly storm. Lin Lu activates his skin-bursting technique, fully aware of the devastation it will cause. He reminds himself that no matter how powerful the violent albino may seem, it's still just a temporary mutant. The virus-laden flesh and blood that will inevitably splatter onto the creature will be enough to destroy the delicate balance within its body, completely overwhelming it. And just as Lin Lu predicted, the violent albino explodes in a violent burst, finally succumbing to the concentrated virus and his skin-bursting technique. With the creature's demise, Lin Lu's efforts are rewarded handsomely. He gains 2 skill points, and his level shoots up to 20. All of his attribute values increase by 1, and he earns 4 more attribute points along with an additional skill point. In addition to the experience and points, Lin Lu receives some loot, a Crimson Fury staff and a stainless meteor hammer. While Lin Lu considers the hammer a rather useless reward, likely destined for the back of his inventory, the staff more than makes up for it. The Crimson Fury staff boosts his spirit by an impressive 8 points and adds a 15% critical hit chance to his spells, making it a perfect addition to his growing arsenal. The stainless meteor hammer, while not Lin Lu's preferred weapon, is a bronze-grade item that offers some decent bonuses. It provides an additional 5 points to strength and 3 points to constitution. When the meteor hammer strikes the ground, it causes damage to all targets within a 5-meter radius, with a chance to stun them, a handy feature that Lion Yinning might find interesting, though not exactly Lin Lu's style. In addition to the loot, Lin Lu acquires 2 new skills, Bloodlust and Invoke Summoning. Bloodlust allows him to spend a portion of his mana on a target, boosting his attack power by 10%, increasing his speed by 8%, and reducing his blood level by 12% for 120 seconds. It's a potent buff that could turn the tide in intense battles. Invoke Summoning, on the other hand, grants him the ability to summon a Lizardman warrior with 80% of his total attribute value. Even more impressive, he can control up to 9 of these summons at once. With Lin Lu reaching level 20, he now has the opportunity to learn new skills and fully utilize his accumulated skill points. He decides to focus on 2 particularly intriguing skills: Mental Confusion and Alzheimer's Technique, both of which are mutation-based. Mental Confusion allows him to disrupt the target's mind, causing them to become mentally disturbed for a short period. During this time, the target will unconsciously attack any surrounding entities, friend or foe, which could lead to some chaotic and possibly amusing scenarios on the battlefield. The Alzheimer's Technique is equally devious. It can cause the target to become stuck for a short period or make them forget a skill they've mastered, potentially leading to a magic backlash. When Lin Lu first sees the description of Alzheimer's, he can't help but shake his head with a wry smile, thinking that his skills are getting more and more ridiculous in the best way possible. With 1 skill point left, Lin Lu decides to learn the Influenza Virus skill, reasoning that it could prove to be another useful tool in his growing arsenal. After gathering up the remaining loot from the defeated monsters, knowing he can sell it for some extra cash, Lin Lu decides it's time to tackle the next task. He activates his Invoke Summoning skill, calling forth his summoned Lizardmen warriors to help him destroy the large crystal on the altar. After a minute of smashing and bashing, the crystal shatters, revealing something unexpected and interesting: the demonized rune. This special prop immediately catches Lin Lu's attention. The rune grants an additional 1 point to all attributes, but it only takes effect when placed in the backpack. What's more intriguing is its demonization ability. The holder can use this rune to transform into a demonized creature. However, Lin Lu realizes that his current level isn't high enough to unlock this transformation. The rune also has another mysterious effect, but once again, Lin Lu's level isn't sufficient to reveal it. Special runes like this are produced after being eroded by the breath of another world. The holder can absorb the breath and soul of alien creatures by killing them, which in turn upgrades the demonized rune. Recognizing it as an upgradable item, Lin Lu deduces that this is likely the biggest reward he's found in the secret realm, a treasure with immense potential. After carefully storing the rune, Lin Lu is informed that he has completed the secret realm. The rewards for completing all the tasks begin to roll in. He gains a massive 100,000 experience points, which propels his level up to 24. His attribute values are increased by 4 across the board, and he earns a hefty 16 attribute points to distribute as he sees fit. As if that wasn't enough, Lin Lu also receives a reward of 10,000 gold coins. He also secures a couple of special items, a resurrection cross and a Styx contract. On top of that, Lin Lu snags an exclusive career transfer certificate, one of a kind, and earns the prestigious title of Pioneer. As if that wasn't enough, he gains an additional 2 skill points. Lin Lu is more than satisfied. With 100,000 experience points burning a hole in his pocket, he's confident he can level up 4 times in a row. He's also rewarded with a perfect pass, along with a hidden profession change book. This book can trigger an exclusive hidden profession change quest, tailored specifically to his current profession. But there's a catch. It can only be used after he hits level 30. The Sticks contract, a special item that allows both parties to forge a unique agreement. But this isn't your average handshake deal. Once the contract is made, it's bound by the rules of the Styx River. If either party dares to break the agreement, they'll find themselves on a one-way trip to being swallowed by the river itself. It's the kind of ironclad contract that leaves no room for second thoughts. The Resurrection Cross offers a unique opportunity. Place it at the target's location, and upon their demise, they'll be resurrected right there. It's like setting up a checkpoint for a second chance at life, ensuring that even death isn't the end of the road. Meanwhile, Lian Yinning and the guards remain stationed in front of the secret realm, anxiously awaiting any sign of movement. Suddenly, Lin Lu emerges, his eyes closed, and the group immediately focuses their attention on him, curiosity etched on their faces. Most of the guards assume he must have failed to complete the missions and quit halfway through. Their surprise only grows when they realize that Lin Lu is the only one to exit the secret realm. King is especially taken aback when she recognizes Lin Lu as the same kid she had approached earlier. She quickly jumps to the conclusion that Lin Lu's team must have perished inside, leaving him as the sole survivor. Feeling a pang of pity, she assumes he's been through a terrible ordeal. Lin Lu, however, is left puzzled by King's concerned expression. As he tries to make sense of the situation, he hears a familiar voice to his side. Turning, he sees Lian Yinning approaching him with a worried look on her face. She expresses concern over his injuries, noting how dangerous these newly discovered secret realms can be. She anxiously asks about his teammates, clearly worried about what might have happened to him and the others inside. Lin Lu casually informs Lian Yinning that he was hunting solo the entire time, as if it's no big deal. Then, without missing a beat, he quickly adds that he has other business to attend to, suggesting they go ahead without him. He's clearly in a hurry, likely eager to trade the loot he scored in the secret realm for some much-needed cash. It's not every day you walk out of a deadly realm with a bag full of treasure, after all. Not wanting to be left out of whatever adventure he's heading towards, Lian Yinning decides to follow, leaving her aunt and the guards behind. Meanwhile, the guards are less than impressed. They assume Lin Lu is just full of hot air, bragging about his supposed solo hunt. They're practically rolling their eyes, hoping Lian Yinning won't fall for what they believe is just a tall tale. King, picking up on their grumbling, calmly reminds them that Lian Yinning can choose her own friends. She then orders them to stay and keep an eye on the entrance to the secret realm, just in case it draws any attention from other would-be adventurers. But just as she gives the order, they all notice something alarming. The secret realm is slowly fading away. King's eyes widen in disbelief as she realizes what this means. Lin Lu didn't just survive, he actually cleared the secret realm all by himself. As Lin Lu continues on his way, Lian Yinning calls out, asking him to wait for her. He slows his pace, turning to her with a curious look. Lian Yinning, clearly feeling a bit awkward, explains that the bodyguards with her were just people her aunt insisted on. She knows they don't believe Lin Lu's story, but she's confident in him, convinced that he's not the type to lie. Lin Lu, with a shrug and a casual smile, reassures her that he doesn't really care what those guys think. It's not like their opinions matter to him anyway. Feeling a bit embarrassed, Lian Yinning stammers as she nervously asks Lin Lu if he would consider forming a team with her for the upcoming exam team competition. The exams are divided into team and individual events, with teams usually consisting of 3 members. The team competition ranks participants based on the number of floors they clear, while the individual competition is a one-on-one fight in the arena. The results aren't just for bragging rights. Doing well could mean getting selected by a prestigious college or even earning a special award. Lin Lu, feeling a bit modest, tries to downplay his abilities, mentioning that he's just a dranked priest and suggesting she might be better off choosing someone more suited to the task. But Lian Yinning insists, explaining that she feels more comfortable teaming up with people she knows. Her persistence wins him over, and Lin Lu finally accepts her offer, though he can't shake the feeling that the invitation sounded a bit odd. Still, he figures it would be impolite to refuse, especially since Lian Yinning seems so eager. After their conversation, Lin Lu heads back home, where he promptly sells off all the equipment he doesn't need. Between that and the gold he collected from the monsters, he's made quite a tidy sum. Doing a quick mental calculation, he realizes that the exchange rate between gold coins and common currency is around 110. If he were to cash in all this gold, it would amount to over 500,000 yuan. The realization hits him that the money he's earned in just 1 week is more than his mother's annual salary, a clear sign of just how lucrative and slightly terrifying it is to be a professional in this world. Just as Lin Lu is settling in, his best friend Tang Cheng bursts into his house, clearly panicked. Tang Cheng demands to know where Lin Lu has been for the past few days, worried and confused about why he hasn't been leveling up with the teacher at school. Tang Cheng, always the worrier, suspects that Lin Luo might have lost his temper over the profession he ended up with. Lin Luo, trying to keep things light, interrupts Tang Cheng's frantic questioning, calmly telling him he didn't invite him over just to listen to a lecture. Instead, he gestures towards a box sitting on the table, telling Tang Cheng that the items inside are for him. Tang Cheng is stunned when he opens the box to find a beast sword and armor, both of which are bronze level. The items are clearly valuable, and for a moment, Tang Cheng can't help but wonder if Lin Lu resorted to something shady, like robbing someone, to get his hands on them. Lin Lu casually informs Tang Cheng that he's been leveling up in the Rat Plains, a revelation that leaves Tang Cheng even more surprised. Without missing a beat, Lin Lu then invites Tang Cheng to team up for the upcoming exam, suggesting they aim for one of the top 10 colleges together. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Tang Cheng jokes that Lin Lu is like a real brother to him. And in typical Tang Cheng fashion, he kiddingly offers to start calling Lin Lu Daddy from now on. Tang Cheng, ever the dramatic, moves in for a hug, but Lin Lu quickly pushes him away with a laugh, teasing that the Lin family has no interest in adopting him. Meanwhile, over at Lian Yining's house, her father delivers some news. The prestigious Dongfeng family has invited her to team up with them for the upcoming competition. However, Lian Yining wastes no time in refusing the offer, much to her father's dismay. He's understandably upset, knowing that the young master of the Dongfeng family has awakened an S-class profession. In his mind, teaming up with the Dongfeng heir is a surefire way for Lian Yining to secure first place. Besides, he's already made a deal with Mr. Dongfeng, expecting his daughter to go along with the plan. Frustrated, he demands to know who Lian Yining plans to team up with instead, clearly skeptical of her choice. He's convinced she'll choose someone unworthy, a useless guy, as he bluntly puts it. Lian Yining, unfazed by her father's skepticism, confidently mentions Lin Lu's name, stating that he's her friend. With pride in her voice, she tells her father that Lin Lu is far from useless, is the amazing guy who single-handedly cleared a secret realm. Hearing that Lin Lu cleared a secret realm alone, Lian Yining's father immediately assumes that Lin Lu must be an S-rank professional or at least has an S-rank talent. However, when Lian Yining informs him that Lin Lu is actually just a D-ranked priest, her father's mood shifts from curious to furious. He feels like she's just trying to rile him up. He stands abruptly, ready to argue. A king steps in calmly, confirming that Lian Yining's statement is true. She explains that she witnessed it with her own eyes, and despite Lin Lu's official rank as a D-class priest, she believes he's hiding some secrets. King reassures him that Lian Yining's choice isn't necessarily a bad one. Still, Lian Yining's father isn't convinced. He's too set in his ways to accept the idea of a D-ranked priest achieving something so extraordinary. Frustrated and unwilling to argue further, he walks away, telling both Lian Yining and Xing to do whatever they want. A few more days pass, and the highly anticipated exam day finally arrives. The event is set to take place in the legendary Trial Tower. Standing beside the imposing structure, a lady streamer introduces herself as Bing Bing, ready to broadcast the entire exam for her eager viewers. She excitedly informs them that over 20,000 new professionals will be entering the Trial Tower for assessment today. Bing Bing explains that there are 1,000 Trial Towers scattered across the world, widely believed to be gifts from the gods to humanity. These towers are a rite of passage for every aspiring professional, with 9,999 floors to challenge even the most skilled. According to legend, if someone manages to break into the mythical 1,000th floor, they can transcend the limitations of humanity and ascend to godhood instantly. Of course, that's the stuff of myths and legends. In reality, this exam is a much more grounded affair, and Bing Bing notes that any new professional who can make it to the 20th floor is already considered an incredible genius. Bing Bing enthusiastically shares with her viewers the ranking of the most anticipated freshman professionals in the city. Topping the list is Murong Suyin, who boasts the S-rank profession of an angel, a title that immediately captures everyone's attention. Next in line is the S-ranked dragon rider Dongfeng, who is rumored to have hatched a flame dragon from the egg that came with his awakening, a feat that has the whole city buzzing. In third place is another S-ranked profession, the unparalleled sword, known for its unrivaled combat prowess. Meanwhile, Lin Lu and Tang Cheng are waiting anxiously for their third teammate to arrive. Tang Cheng, clueless about who it might be, grows increasingly nervous. He worries that Lin Lu might have made a mistake in picking their teammate, fearing that without a strong damage dealer, they'll end up being nothing more than monster fodder in the trial. Lin Lu, however, remains calm and tells Tang Cheng not to worry, reassuring him to just wait patiently. After a few minutes, Lian Yining finally arrives, smiling as she mentions that it was almost impossible to find Lin Lu in the crowd. She then declares that their team is now complete. When Tang Cheng realizes that Lian Yining is their third teammate, he's both shocked and impressed. After all, she's not just skilled, she's also the prettiest girl in their class. Lin Lu, playing it cool, casually remarks that it's not a big deal, and tells his companions to get ready since the trial is about to begin. As they're getting themselves prepared, Dongfang, perched above, watches them with a sharp gaze. The fact that Lian Yining dared to reject him still stings, and seeing her team up with Lin Lu feels like rubbing salt in the wound. Just then, one of his men arrives, bringing along the person Dongfang had been waiting for, Yang Horan. Much to Yang's surprise, Dongfang seems to know an unsettling amount of details about him. Dongfang rattles off Yang's background as if reading from a dossier. Yang is from Binhai. His father, Yang Xiaoyang, is the deputy director of Binhai's No. 7 steel factory, and his mother, Liang Kaifan, is a full-time housewife. Yang is caught off guard by how much Dongfang knows about him, especially the fact that he's awakened as an A-level professional magic swordsman. Yang can't help but feel a little unnerved, quickly realizing that Dongfang has done some serious homework on him. He starts to wonder what Dongfang's real intentions are. Maybe he's planning something, or worse, trying to mess with him. Dongfang then informs Yang that he was rejected by someone and is now short of teammates. He adds that Yang's profession as a magic swordsman is a perfect match for his team, and for this exam, Yang will follow him. Yang smiles, enthusiastically agreeing to Dongfang's offer, even saying he could accept it 1,000,000 times over. Inside, he's already thinking about his previous teammates and concludes that they won't be able to take the test now that he's teamed up with Dongfang. He doesn't feel a shred of guilt, chalking it up to bad luck for those two men. Dongfang, seemingly out of nowhere, brings up a rumor he's heard their school has a hidden professional named Lian Yining. Yang informs him that Lian Yining's profession is that of a spiritual snow princess. In response, Dongfang lets out a sarcastic sigh. Yang notes that Lian Yining has the potential to develop into an S-class profession, given that the Snow Princess is a dual-power profession combining wind, snow, and soul abilities. However, Dongfang can't help but express his disappointment, remarking that it's a pity Lian Yining's judgment seems to be lacking. Her refusal to team up with him in his eyes marks her as a short-sighted person who doesn't recognize a golden opportunity when it's right in front of her. Dongfang, ever confident, looks off into the distance and declares that there's only one woman truly worthy of his attention, the youngest daughter of the Murong family, Murong Xuan. Meanwhile, Stukin herself is eyeing Lian Yining from afar, puzzled by her decision to team up with two unknown guys. Xuan finds it odd, especially since Lian Yining had far better options available to her. However, she quickly dismisses the thought, deciding that it's better to focus on her own path rather than worrying about others. Xuan's teammate, a silver-haired lady, reassures her not to fret, confidently stating that the first place in the exam will surely be hers. The man in her team also chimes in, vowing to protect her with his life. Xuan, with a touch of determination, places her hand on the tower, making it clear that she isn't particularly concerned about the ranking. What truly drives her is the desire to obtain the world's marvelous artifact, the grand prize for the winner. Finally, the tower begins to shine, signaling that the exam is about to start. Everyone is instructed to prepare themselves, and in an instant, the participants are transported into the tower. Lin Lu and his teammates find themselves surrounded by a variety of monsters. Tang Cheng, wide-eyed and a bit overwhelmed, marvels at the sight, exclaiming that the rumors were true. Each level of the trial tower is like its own independent world. But there's no time for sightseeing, as the monsters waste no time and charge at them. Tang Cheng panics, but Lin Lu, on the other hand, feels a surge of excitement. He's been itching for a chance to finally show off his skills. Before he can make his move, though, Lian Yining transforms into her spiritual snow princess form, her powers activating instantly. She unleashes a frost attack, and the monsters are covered in ice before they can even get close. With a confident smile, Lian Yining turns to Lin Lu and tells him to stay back, promising to protect him. Little does she know, Lin Lu is standing there feeling a bit deflated. He was all set to impress his teammates with his abilities, only to have his big moment cut short by Lian Yining's quick and efficient defense. For now, he's left holding back, silently wishing he had the chance to show them what he's really capable of. After just a few minutes, the tower's different floors begin to light up, indicating that participants are progressing quickly. The coordinators observe this with interest, noting that more and more teams are advancing to higher floors. One of the older coordinators comments that, according to the rules, the more floors a team clears within the 12-hour time limit, the better their final result will be. He deduces that all the candidates are pushing hard to make a strong impression. To everyone's surprise, one team has already reached the 7th floor, which is an impressive speed. The top teams so far include Dongfang's team and Murong Xuan's team, both of which were expected to perform well. However, what really catches everyone's attention is that Lion Yining's team is currently in 3rd place, making remarkable progress. The coordinators, however, can't help but be puzzled and a bit disappointed by the sight of one of Lion Yining's teammates, Lin Lu, seemingly hanging back and just watching the show from behind. From their perspective, it looks like Lin Lu is simply lazing around while his teammates do all the hard work to advance. To them, Lin Lu comes across as a bit of a slacker, a stark contrast to his teammates who are clearly giving it their all to pass the test. What the coordinators don't realize is that Lin Lu isn't content to just sit back and watch his teammates fight. He's already informed Lion Yining that, although he's a priest, he doesn't possess any healing skills. His best contribution in that department is handing out health potions. Plus, the monsters on this floor aren't exactly worth his attention. They're not challenging enough for him to bother taking action. Despite this, Lion Yining is still convinced that Lin Lu is vulnerable and insists that he stay back to be protected by her. Meanwhile, 2 bystanders witness the exchange between Lion Yining and Lin Lu. One of them remarks that Lin Lu seems weak but is trying to act tough. The other, recognizing Lion Yining, can't help but feel a pang of envy. He points out that she's the daughter of the prestigious Lian family and has awakened an A-rank hidden profession, making her the school goddess in more ways than one. The fact that Lin Lu is sticking close to her only fuels his jealousy, and he can't help but grumble about how envious he is that Lin Lu is holding onto such a valuable connection, one that he wishes he had himself. The guy with black hair observes that the one accompanying Lin Lu and Liam Yining seems to be a C-level professional. His white-haired companion chimes in, expressing doubt that Lion Yining will be able to advance much further with 2 losers driving her down. As they continue their conversation, King overhears them and can't help but smile slightly. She finds it amusing that these 2 men would call Lin Lu a loser. In her mind, if someone who cleared a secret realm solo is considered a loser, then 99% of the candidates must be even worse than useless. King reflects on her role in Lion Yining's life and realizes that she can only guide her so far. She silently hopes that Lion Yining will find the courage to pursue her own path, and maybe even her love, despite the naysayers around her. 3 hours later, many candidates have been injured and forced to exit the tower. The guy from earlier comments that as the number of floors increases, more candidates are getting injured, and some are even getting killed. They begin to wonder if anyone will manage to break the city record by making it past the 26th floor. The black-haired man points out that the higher the candidates climb, the stronger the monsters become. He also mentions that there's virtually no footage after the 15th floor because the monsters are so powerful, they might destroy the cameras. The white-haired guy agrees, noting that this lack of footage is actually beneficial for the individual competitions, as it prevents some candidates' trump cards from being leaked. They share a laugh when they notice that Lion Yining's team, which was once ranked number 3, has now been squeezed out of the top 30. They're not particularly surprised, though. They fully expected Lion Yining's team to drop in the rankings, given what they believe are her useless companions. However, they are somewhat impressed that Lion Yining has managed to last this long despite what they see as a major disadvantage. Meanwhile, Lian Yining is feeling the strain after fighting for 3 hours straight. Exhausted and frustrated, she admits that she might be reaching her limit. Tang Cheng, equally worn out, acknowledges how incredible she's been, pointing out that while other teams are working together, they've mostly been relying on her to carry them. He adds that reaching the 19th floor is already a terrifying achievement. Just then, Lin Lu steps forward and suggests a change in strategy. He tells Lian Yining and Tang Cheng to switch positions with him, mentioning that from now on, he will take the lead. Tang Cheng hesitates, reminding Lin Luo that Lian Yining is their leader. Lian Yining, however, calmly points out that Lin Lu cleared a secret realm by himself, so they should trust his abilities. She encourages Tang Cheng to check Lin Lu's info panel in team mode if he doesn't believe her. Tang Cheng quickly pulls up Lin Lu's information and is stunned by what he sees. Lin Lu is currently at level 26, a level that's on track to break the record for all the candidates in the tower. Tang Cheng can hardly believe it, especially since Lian Yining, their leader, is only at level 18 and he himself is still at level 13. The realization hits him hard. Lin Lu isn't just capable, he's leagues ahead of them. Tang Cheng, still reeling from the revelation, asks Lin Lu if he really did clear the secret realm alone. Lin Lu responds with a hint of amusement, reminding Tang Cheng where he thinks the equipment he received last time came from. Without missing a beat, Lin Lu shifts focus and instructs Lian Yining to bring one of frozen monsters back to its normal state. Curious, Lian Yining agrees but wants to know why. Lin Lu poses a question to her, asking what she thinks a monster would do if it realized it was outmatched. Lian Yining, thinking it through, replies that most monsters live in packs, so if one feels overpowered, it would likely retreat to bring back reinforcements. Lin Lu confirms that this is exactly what he wants to happen. With the newfound understanding, Lian Yining nods and prepares to follow Lin Lu's plan. He instructs her once again to unfreeze the monster and get ready to level up. Lian Yining, still curious about how Lin Luo managed to clear the secret realm alone, agrees to release the monsters as part of his plan. She unfreezes one monster, which immediately freaks out and bolts in the opposite direction. However, before long, the team notices something unexpected. A whole pack of monsters charging straight at them. Lin Lu, caught off guard, mutters that there's no way the monster could have gotten reinforcements that quickly. Lian Yining and Tang Cheng leap into action, fighting off the approaching horde. Lian Yining can't help but wonder where these additional monsters came from. They had already cleared the surrounding area, so this sudden onslaught doesn't make any sense. Tang Cheng, amidst the chaos, agrees that something is definitely off. These monsters shouldn't be here. Lin Lu's sharp eyes catch movement behind them. He quickly pieces it together. 3 men are lurking nearby, and it becomes clear that they've deliberately brought these monsters to slow his team down. Swiftly, a monster lunges toward Lian Yining, and she feels it's too late to mount a proper defense. Just as she braces for impact, the monster is suddenly struck down. She turns, thinking it might be Lin Lu. It turns out Lin Lu has activated his invoke summoning skill, calling forth a horde of lizards to their aid. Lin Lu says he was hoping for a smooth upgrade, but you don't think he can get it. However, he commands his summoned lizards to counterattack. Tang Cheng, both amazed and bewildered, exclaims in surprise, asking if Lin Lu's skill is some kind of monster summoning or pet summoning ability. Lian Yining, equally impressed, adds that it seems more like an equipment-related skill and admits that it's pretty awesome. Meanwhile, the 3 unknown men who had orchestrated the monster ambush watch in shock as Lin Lu's skill turns the tide. They quickly realize that their plan to use monsters to thin out the competition has backfired spectacularly. The 3 unknown men notice even more packs of monsters charging toward Lian Yining's team and quickly conclude that there's no way her team will survive if they don't retreat immediately. With 100 monsters bearing down on them, they're convinced that this is the end of the line for Lian Yining's group. The leader of the trio urges his companions to stop watching and hurry to find the entrance to the next floor, confident that the danger has taken care of their competition. Meanwhile, the situation becomes dire as the number of monsters surrounding Lian Yining's team multiplies. Tang Cheng, clearly panicked, turns to Lin Lu, asking what they should do. He's certain that the monster that fled earlier has returned with reinforcements, creating an overwhelming threat. Lin Lu, however, remains calm and grips his staff with determination. Now is the time for him to make his move. He activates his Black Death Outbreak, unleashing a wave of dark energy that spreads across the battlefield. The effect is immediate and devastating. All the monsters around them are severely harmed by the skill. Thanks to Lin Lu's skill, their team manages to eliminate the level 20 bear goblins, each earning a hefty 2,765 experience points per goblin. Lian Yining and Tang Cheng are over the moon, both stunned by the flood of experience points. Tang Cheng, still in disbelief, mutters, just like brother Lin Lu said, "Sit back and wait for the level up." His awe is clear as he watches the experience points continue to roll in. But Lin Lu, ever the perfectionist, shakes his head. Not enough, he says calmly, his gaze sharp. He wants this floor covered in death, a true testament to his power. With another swift motion, Lin Lu casts another spell, and the sky above them grows darker, as if the very atmosphere is responding to his will. Lian Yining and Tang Cheng instinctively glance upward. More goblins fall under Lin Lu's relentless assault, and with every defeated monster, their team's experience points skyrocket. Tang Cheng is frozen with shock as experience points keep pouring in non-stop. He's stunned by the sheer amount and speed of their level-ups. He asks Lin Lu if he has also got wide-range poison skills. Lian Yining, always quick to think, disagrees with him. She explains that goblins often hunt poisonous creatures and have strong resistance to poison, so this can't be just poison. She's certain it's something much more dangerous. Lin Lu calmly confirms her suspicions. It isn't poison, it's a disease. His skill infects the monsters with a virus that spreads rapidly through their bodies. Not only that, the virus is contagious, spreading from one goblin to another. With so many infected monsters, the virus has multiplied into an uncontrollable force, surrounding the entire floor like an invisible cloud of danger. Tang Cheng feels a mix of amazement and fear as he realizes how serious this is. He jokes nervously, but there's real worry behind it. The virus could overwhelm anything in its path, and he wonders if they're even safe from it. Lin Lu reassures Tang Cheng not to sweat it, saying he's got full control over the virus. But then, with a slight smirk, he casually mentions it's a whole different story for some of the people who aren't on his side, and just as he says this, he is already working his magic, casting the virus skill on the boys' trio, who had the audacity to try and sabotage their mission. The poor guys are clueless, blissfully unaware of what's creeping up on them, convinced they'd survive the evening's challenge. Spoiler alert, they won't. Their leader, oblivious to the imminent danger, tells them to stop chit-chatting and focus on getting out of there. He even claims to have figured out where the entrance to the next floor is, estimating they'd be there in about 10 minutes. But then mid-run, they notice something strange. A shadow looms overhead. They stop dead in their tracks, wondering what's going on, only to see a massive cloud barreling towards them. That's when it hits, literally and figuratively. They start feeling weak, dizzy, and coughing uncontrollably. It doesn't take long for the realization to dawn on them. This isn't a bad cold, it's the virus. Their lungs feel like they're shutting down, splitting headaches, hammering their skulls, and they know it's game over if they push any further. Panic sets in and they bail, abandoning the trial tower as fast as their shaky legs can carry them. Outside the tower, 4 onlookers are casually discussing how far the kids might have gotten. One of them, the old baldy, muses that the city's highest record had been 26 floors for years. But this time he knew things would be different. There were 4 S-level career candidates in the mix, and their potential was off the charts. With a smirk, he confidently predicts this time's highest floor will be the 28th. The other old man beside him mentions that monsters in caves, the Sea of Stars, and other areas outside the territory have been getting more violent in recent years. The old baldy nods and adds that he even heard a legendary senior had lost his life out there. He hopes the younger generation can grow up fast enough to handle these dangers. Nothing like a little doomsday motivation to get them moving. The blonde young man chimes in, curious if that's why Binhai City is trying to inspire the younger generation by offering rare objects as rewards for first prize. He thinks it seems a little too generous, like they're giving away treasures just for kicks. The black-haired man beside him shakes his head and explains it's not as extravagant as it sounds. That rare object? It's damaged, so the higher-level professionals don't have much use for it anymore. It's a clever way to train new professionals and put some funds to good use. Suddenly, the old baldy interrupts, telling them all to stop talking and look up. Something doesn't feel right about the Tower of Trial. A large amount of poisonous fog is building up on the 19th floor. The trio of boys from earlier suddenly land outside the tower, gasping for breath, each one complaining that they've been poisoned. The coordinators immediately spiral into panic mode, assuming that monsters from the 26th floor must have somehow escaped to the 19th floor. But then, a researcher checking his interface frowns. Something doesn't add up. It looks more like a disease than poison. His screen flashes some alarming data. The status bar for the 3 guys shows serious illness. After digging deeper, he realizes these poor souls are infected with a virus. That's when the real panic sets in. The old man, ever the voice of authority, checks the boys over and confirms it. This isn't just any virus, it looks like the deadly Black Death virus. With a grim expression, he mutters that there might be a full-blown plague on the 19th floor. He's baffled, though. The boss capable of spreading this virus is supposed to be locked away on the 50th floor. Something is very wrong here, and it's escalating fast. One of the boys, still coughing and wheezing, manages to explain that they didn't face any dangerous monsters. Instead, a massive poisonous cloud rolled in, and soon after, they were hit with splitting headaches and chest pain. Worse still, the monsters weren't attacking. They were dropping dead in droves for reasons unknown. The old man scratches his chin, deep in thought. It's bad, no doubt, but he takes a little comfort in the fact that Plague's reach seems limited for now. Plus, many of the candidates have already pushed past the 20th floor, especially the S-rank professionals who've made it all the way to the 26th floor. Dongfeng and his team are currently on the 26th floor, unaffected by the poisonous fog. Dongfeng had come fully prepared, and his team members couldn't help but be impressed. They believe that with him leading, even poisonous monsters wouldn't dare come near them. Not with Dongfeng's planning skills, anyway. With a hint of pride, Dongfeng declares that, thanks to his family's extensive intelligence network, he was ready for anything the monsters on each floor could throw at them. The 26th floor is just a minor hurdle for him. His real goal is to break through to the 28th floor. Yang, one of his teammates, beams with admiration and tells Dongfeng that his courage is truly impressive. He feels it's an honor to be on the same team and guesses they're probably the only group to have made it this far. But Dongfeng, ever cautious, advises Yang not to underestimate the other candidates. He's sure there are others on their level like Murong Suyin, though he's confident this is as far as Suyin would be able to go for now. Meanwhile, Murong Suin's team is battling fiercely against the monsters on the same floor. The only guy in her team casts a holy shield, trying to hold off the relentless attacks. The monsters seem endless, hammering against the barrier. Frustrated, the guy mutters that the number of monsters is ridiculous, like they're being specifically targeted. It feels impossible to kill them all, and he's at a loss for what they should do next. Mei, the other lady on the team, admits she's exhausted and apologizes to Xuyin, knowing she can't keep fighting much longer. Xuyin remains calm, thanking Mei for helping her conserve her strength. With her energy saved, Xuyin declares that she'll now take over as the main damage dealer. Clearly, Xuyin's not the type to back down. However, Mei hesitates and admits there's something else she needs to apologize for. She reveals that she had already smeared their bodies with the honey of the jade bee, something that poisonous monsters love. Well, that explains the monster party. Mei warns that more monsters will keep coming and even Xuyin won't survive what's ahead. The guy, furious upon hearing this, glares at Mei, but Xuyin stays composed. She simply asks Mei why she did it. Mei, her voice trembling with a mix of guilt and bitterness, replies that it's out of jealousy. She admits she's envious of Xuyin, who seems to have it all, the beauty, ES-level profession, and the attention of every outstanding man. Mei feels like Xuyin always gets the best of everything, while she's left with nothing. She continues, confessing that Dongfeng, he was the only one who appreciated her. He promised her that if she helped him win the championship, he'd marry her and bring her into the Dongfeng family. Mei pleads with Xuyin to sacrifice herself for her sister's happiness. Talk about a dramatic family request. But Xuyin remains unshaken and tells Mei that Dongfeng, he is only using her to win this competition. He has no real intention of marrying her. Mei refuses to believe it. She's convinced that Dongfeng, he is sincere, and that he plans to introduce her to his family's elders. Mei accuses Xuyin of being jealous now, saying that while she's never won anything against Xuyin, she'll win this time, at least when it comes to love. The guy, clearly rattled by Mei's betrayal, quickly turns to her and asks what they should do next. With the monsters closing in and trust shattered, he's desperate for direction. Xuyin, staying as composed as ever, tells him there's no need to push forward and break through this floor. She reassures him that they've already done enough to qualify for tomorrow's individual competition. Then, with a quiet but determined confidence, Xuyin declares that when the competition begins, she'll reclaim the throne from Dongfeng. At this moment, Lin Lu's team finally arrives at the entrance to the 20th floor. As they step in, Tang Cheng can't help but feel proud, remarking that it was a breeze getting there with Lin Lu on their side. After all, they had cleared every monster on their path, and their experience points skyrocketed. Easy mode unlocked thanks to Lin Lu. Lin Lu, ever the realist, tells him not to get too excited just yet. There's still a lot of work ahead, and he's unsure how long it will take for the monsters on this floor to respawn. He suggests they move directly to the next level without wasting any time. Tang Cheng quickly agrees, saying he'll stick with Lin Lu all the way to the highest floor. At least one of them knows who to follow when things get tough. Lian Yining, always the thinker, points out that while Lin Lu's skills are excellent for clearing out monsters, there must be some limitations. She reasons that on the lower floors, where monsters are weaker and have low magic resistance, they're easy to infect. But on the higher floors, things might not be so simple. Lin Lu acknowledges that she's right, but explains that the limitations go even further. His abilities work best in places like secret realms and dungeons, where monsters are packed into tight spaces. Out in the open, with proper air circulation, his skills lose a lot of their effectiveness. Lian Yining adds that Lin Lu's skill spreads over such a wide range that, while it's great for killing monsters, it also affects other candidates nearby. She reminds them that the guys from before barely made it out of the tower in time to heal, but she's sure it will impact their overall results. Not everyone's going to shrug off a virus outbreak. Tang Cheng, defensive as ever, tells her they can't just let other people target them and pin the blame on their team. Lian Yining clarifies that she doesn't mean to accuse, but warns that using such tactics might end up offending many of the other candidates. Lin Lu, unfazed, replies with conviction. Offend others? In a world filled with conflict and chaos, if you don't fight, you'll be left behind. Professionals bear heavy responsibilities and their paths are naturally full of danger. If someone can't handle this kind of setback, how are they supposed to stand up against monsters and aliens? Survival of the fittest, and Lin Lu plays by those rules. He strides toward the portal, his resolve clear. Tang Cheng nods in agreement, declaring that if anyone even thinks about taking revenge on Lin Lu, he'll be the first to stand in their way, a loyal sidekick, if there ever was one. Lian Yining, seeing their determination, promises that she too will stand by Lin Lu's side, no matter what. The moment they step onto the 20th floor, they're met with the sight of monsters. Without wasting a second, Tang Cheng follows Lin Lu's instructions and hurls stones at the creatures. With a mischievous grin, he taunts the monsters, calling for their attention. "I'm the one who threw those stones. If you're mad, come at me." His confidence fades quickly when the pack of monsters suddenly charges at him. Terrified, Tang Cheng sprints in the opposite direction, heart pounding. His plan is to lure them to Lin Luo. Tang Cheng rushes back to Lin Lu, breathless, reporting that he's successfully attracted the monsters. He's still shaken, admitting that he barely escaped being swallowed whole. Lin Lu, unbothered, makes a lighthearted remark suggesting that with all of Tang Cheng's gear, any monster that tried to eat him would probably end up with constipation. Before Lin Lu can act, a monster leaps at him. But before it gets too close, Lian Yining swoops in, slicing the creature clean in half. She proclaims with absolute certainty that no one will touch Lin Lu under her watch. If anyone's wondering, she's got the bodyguard job locked down. In a matter of seconds, hundreds of monsters gather in front of them, and their aggressive intent is clear. Lin Luo calmly declares it's time to get serious. Without hesitation, he unleashes his Black Death outbreak, letting the virus spread through the horde. Meanwhile, outside the tower, excitement is buzzing. Dongfeng He and his team have just reached the 27th floor, breaking the long-standing record. The coordinators and spectators are in a frenzy over the news. One coordinator, however, feels a bit disheartened that Xuanen's team didn't make it as far as expected. But the blonde young man nearby isn't convinced that Xuanen's failure is so simple. He believes her strength is unmatched and thinks something must have gone wrong inside the tower. He's not one to give up on a favorite so easily. The black-haired man in front of him chuckles, pointing out that life is never predictable. There are always setbacks, and if Xuan can't handle a challenge like this, how will she ever grow into the genius everyone expects her to become? The old man in front, deep in thought, remarks that even Murong Xuan, like many others overshadowed by Dongfeng, could still prove to be a true genius in the future. The old baldy, always one for stories, brings up the dragon priest, Master Lai Za. He reminds everyone that Lai Za was once a commoner who faced countless attacks out of jealousy when he first showed his talent. But despite it all, he rose to greatness. Nothing like a bit of historical inspiration when things get tough. Just then, a man rushes over with bad news. He reports that the poison from earlier has reappeared in the trial tower, starting from the 19th floor and still spreading upward. In just 4 hours, it's already reached the 20th floor, and at this rate, it could spread all the way to the 25th floor. He gives a rough estimate: around 3,000 candidates have already been affected. That's not a small number to shrug off. The old man, always methodical, inquires about the numbers of students still in the tower. The messenger explains that, aside from a handful of lower-level candidates practicing below the 19th floor, there are only a few top students left who have made it past the 24th floor. In fact, there are no fewer than 100 candidates beyond that point. The group grows more curious, trying to figure out what's causing the chaos. The blonde man, quick to leap to a theory, suggests that the poison could be man-made. Because when strange things happen, someone's usually pulling the strings. The black-haired man, skeptical but intrigued, asks if this means there are corrupt individuals mixed in with the examination teams. Nothing like the whiff of conspiracy to keep things interesting. For the past 300 years of the apocalypse, most of humanity has fought to survive with the help of a small group of skilled professionals. However, not everyone followed this path. Some, either unwilling to accept the reality of a failed awakening or driven by the desire for greater power, chose a different route. They surrendered to the alien demon god. In their view, the world had already ended, and offering it up to the devil was the only way to preserve human civilization. These individuals, lurking in the shadows and sowing destruction, seek to overthrow human power and rule, all to gain favor with the demon god. This group is known as the Fallen. The black-haired man, always analytical, points out that if the Fallen were truly involved, why have they massacred all the candidates? He's confused as to why so many still manage to escape. Not exactly the signature move of a destructive cult. The blonde man offers his theory. He believes the Fallen might be holding back, preserving their strength for a bigger target. He suspects that their true goal is the S-class professionals, those with the greatest potential. Go big or go home, as they say. The old man behind them chimes in, reminding everyone that the tower is sealed during the exams. They wouldn't be able to interfere directly for now. Their only hope lies with the talented candidates inside, as the Fallen are high in rank themselves. It's not impossible to fight back. After a few hours of battling their way through the lower floors, Lin Lu and his team finally reached the 26th floor. Along the way, they gained valuable experience and leveled up. Tang Cheng is now at level 20, Lian Yining at level 25, and Lin Luo, leading the pack, has reached level 30. With this new level comes the option to learn 4 new skills, though these aren't exactly what he had hoped for. Let's just say the skill tree is taking a turn for the bizarre. One of the new skills is reproductive excitation, a mutated ability that fills the target with an overwhelming, irrational desire for reproduction. It completely suppresses logic and triggers instinctual behaviors with any nearby creatures, regardless of type, gender, place, or situation. Talk about awkward timing for a power-up. The other three skills, well, they're just as unusual and uncomfortable. One is genital warts, a sexually transmitted infection that causes painful warts to appear around the genitals and rectum. The next is gonorrhea, which spreads through sexual contact, and finally, syphilis outbreak, a disease caused by the bacterium Treponema pallidum. Each skill is more cruel and cringeworthy than the last, but Lin Lu has no choice but to learn them all, one after the other. When leveling up feels more like taking a course in uncomfortable diseases. As he learns these abilities, his face twists into a weird expression, part cringe, part perverse. Lian Yining and Tang Cheng, noticing his unsettling grin, look at him with utter confusion, wondering just what is going through his mind. Definitely not the typical power-up experience. Lian Yining, always curious, approaches Lin Lu and asks him what new skills he's learned. Lin Lu, clearly not eager to explain his new awkward set of abilities, simply tells her it's better if she doesn't know. Some things are best kept to yourself, especially when they involve diseases. Lian Yining then reminds him that now that he's reached level 30, he's eligible for a second job transfer. Lin Lu, already prepared, acknowledges that he's ready to take the next step. Without delay, he checks the mission for the transfer. Thankfully, his efforts in the secret realm have paid off, rewarding him with an exclusive hidden job transfer book. No need to wait around. He can start right away. Wasting no time, Lin Lu activates the job transfer and begins the mission for his second transformation. The system presents him with two options, both unique and full of dark potential: Dark Lord and Evil Doctor. The Dark Lord profession is described as the only hidden profession, granting its user the title of the savior of the Dark Kingdom, a being that walks in the twilight between life and death. After transferring, Lin Lu would gain the power to traverse both the material realm and the land of the dead, manipulating the powers of the undead and controlling their souls at will. His current skills wouldn't disappear but would evolve into exclusive abilities belonging to the master of the underworld or the Dark Lord. The transfer comes with additional perks, including 10 exclusive skill points for upgrades. But with this power comes a significant trade-off. The transfer would transform Lin Lu's appearance, pulling him closer to the undead. His body would become a necromantic one, increasing his charisma by 10 points when dealing with the dead, while decreasing it by 10 points towards the living. While the profession is undoubtedly powerful and the only hidden one, Lin Lu hesitates. The idea of becoming a skeleton, permanently, doesn't sit well with him. It's not just the appearance, it feels out of sync with his current abilities. Undead powers are cool and all, but who wants to walk around as a bony skeleton? The other option Lin Lu is presented with is the Evil Doctor, a hidden profession that promises to make him the most unethical and unprofessional doctor in history. After changing to this profession, his skills would come with unpredictable and often chaotic additional effects. The moment he completes the job transfer, he would gain access to a unique skill called non-responsible surgery. This skill is as dangerous as it sounds. The operator, Lin Lu, performs an incredibly risky surgery on a target. But here's the twist. He bears no responsibility for the results. The effects are wildly unpredictable, with chances of causing random disabilities, deformities, degeneration, organ transplants, and a host of other bizarre outcomes. It can only be cast on human or humanoid creatures, making it as chaotic as opening a mystery box where someone else has to deal with the consequences. Upon reading the description of the Evil Doctor, Lin Lu is intrigued, almost excited. The unpredictability of the skill is like opening a blind box, only the box is opened on someone else, and Lin Lu gets to have all the fun without any of the responsibility. It's like the ultimate, what's the worst that could happen profession, but with no strings attached. Unable to resist the allure of such carefree chaos, Lin Lu chooses the Evil Doctor profession. As soon as the job transfer is complete, he receives a unique hidden quest, Silver Heart. The mission requires him to hunt down and kill a silver-level humanoid boss to obtain its heart. The catch is he must complete the mission within a month to claim the rewards. After successfully completing his job transfer, Lin Lu informs Tang Cheng and Lian Yining that it's time for them to part ways. Lian Yining, always perceptive, asks if this decision is because of his new job transfer mission and offers her help. Tang Cheng, loyal as ever, quickly jumps in, saying he can assist by taking some of the hits and that it's much safer if they stick together. Lin Lu explains that his mission requires him to kill a silver-level humanoid boss, and he knows how difficult it will be to find one in the wild. Even if they manage to locate one, powerful people are likely to snatch it away before he has a chance to complete the task. Fortunately, there's one such boss within the Tower of Trials. Lian Yining, connecting the dots, realizes he's talking about the boss on the 30th floor. Concerned, she points out that going alone to such a dangerous floor would be risky. Lin Lu tells them with all three of them together, they draw too much attention and he wouldn't be able to protect everyone. Lin Lu admits that while he feels bad about leaving them behind, he knows it'll be harder for them to progress further if they stick together. Tang Cheng, not missing a beat, reassures him, saying that without Lin Lu's help, they wouldn't have made it past the 19th floor. Reaching the 26th floor is already a huge accomplishment, and he feels like he's made a fortune with what they've achieved together. Loyalty runs deep, but Tang Cheng knows when it's time to let Lin Lu go for the greater good. Lin Lu taps Tang Cheng's shoulder and tells him they will meet again before turning to leave. But just as he's about to go, Lian Yining quickly grabs his hand, asking him to wait. Without a word, she hands him a special item, a stand and puppet, a one-time use item that can resist a lethal attack once before vanishing. Lin Lu, knowing how precious this item is, tries to refuse. He understands it must have been given to her by her family to protect her life, something like an extra chance at survival. But Lian Yining insists. She tells him that his safety is more important to her, and that, as a friend, she cares for him the most. Her words nearly spill into something more, and she feels her heart race as she realizes she almost confessed her feelings for him. Feeling a little flustered but determined, Lian Yining presses the item into Lin Lu's hand, leaving him no room to argue. She then turns to Tang Cheng, signaling that it's time for them to leave. Tang Cheng tells Lin Lu to take care of himself, and with that, they depart. Lin Lu watches them walk away, a strange feeling tugging at him. A part of him wants to run after Lian Yining to give back the puppet, knowing how valuable it is to her. But sometimes, when someone cares enough to protect you, the best thing you can do is accept it. Meanwhile, in another part of the tower, Dongfeng He and his team are locked in a battle against hellhounds. Yang, visibly frustrated, complains that they haven't encountered any ordinary monsters, only elite level 35 hellhounds. If this keeps up, he knows they're in serious danger of being wiped out. Not exactly what they had in mind for their climb. Suddenly, Pan Chen, the assassin and leader of another team, appears and suggests to Dongfeng that they work together. He argues that it's smarter to conserve their strength by teaming up. Dongfeng, weighing his options, agrees. After all, survival comes first. He points out that the closest entrance to the 28th floor is near the lava lake, and they start making their way there. Pan Chen, eager to take the lead, rushes ahead and cuts through numerous monsters with ease, wielding his spectral phantom thunder sword and his mountain splitter demon swords. His three-layer magic shield keeps him safe as he clears the way for the others. Clearing monsters like they're nothing, Pan Chen shows off why he's a force to be reckoned with. After battling their way through, they finally reach the lava lake, where the portal to the next floor is waiting. Just as they're about to make a dash for it, the lava suddenly bursts from the lake and a monster emerges. Lava flies everywhere, injuring most of the group, including Yang, who slams hard into the ground. Another wounded team member beside him reverts to his human form, confirming their fears. It's the Hellhound King, the boss of the 27th floor. Yang, still reeling from the impact, wonders aloud why the Hellhound King has emerged so suddenly, since it usually sleeps in the lava lake. Pan Chen quickly explains that it was Dongfeng's dragon pet that agitated the Hellhound King. Both creatures share similar attributes, and the Hellhound King wants to devour the dragon to evolve further. Bad timing for some natural competition. Dongfeng He, with a smirk, dares the Hellhound King to swallow his dragon pet, questioning whether it has the guts to do so. Dongfeng then asks Pan Chen if he is trying to escape the fight. Pan Chen laughs it off, claiming that despite being rivals, they're still friends with ties between their families. He insists he wouldn't just abandon Dongfeng now that the Hellhound King has set its sights on him. With that, he charges toward the monster, ready to fight side by side with Dongfeng. Meanwhile, just as Lian Yining and Tang Cheng exit the tower, Lian Yining finds herself blushing, her heart racing. She quietly reflects on how Lin Lu's hands felt, warm and firm, leaving a lasting impression. Tang Cheng, noticing her flustered state, smiles knowingly. He casually remarks that perhaps it's time for him to change how he addresses her. Lian Yining tries to push aside her feelings, reminding herself that there's no time for romantic thoughts right now. Lin Lu is still inside the tower, alone, and her mind is more focused on hoping for his safety than anything else. But then Tang Cheng drops a surprise, calling her sister-in-law and reassuring her not to worry, since Lin Lu is strong and can take care of himself. Lian Yining is caught off guard by the title sister-in-law and stares at Tang Cheng, surprised. Tang Cheng grins and explains that she can't hide her feelings for Lin Lu from him. He even brings up the love letter she wrote to Lin Lu back when they were freshmen in high school, revealing that he stumbled upon it while snooping through Lin Lu's drawer. Apparently, Lin Lu had hidden it really deep, like treasure. Lian Yining, shocked by the revelation, immediately asks what Lin Lu's reaction was at the time. She had always assumed he didn't even read her letter, given that she never received any response. But Tang Cheng spills the truth. When Lin Lu got the letter, he was so flustered and overwhelmed that he started babbling about dreams and nonsense. It took Tang Cheng quite some time to calm him down. Tang Cheng reassures Lian Yining that Lin Luo was definitely concerned about her. As Lian Yining and Tang Cheng are talking, Yang and his companion emerge from the tower, catching the attention of the crowd. Everyone recognizes them as members of Dongfeng He's team. Yang, spotting Lian Yining, immediately walks over and asks how she's doing and what level she managed to reach. Before Lian Yining can respond, Tang Cheng jumps in, his temper flaring. He snaps at Yang, telling him to stop being so familiar with his sister-in-law. Tang Cheng even threatens to beat him up if he doesn't back off. Protective mode activated. Yang is completely dumbfounded, his eyes widening in disbelief as he processes the words sister-in-law. He looks utterly hopeless, his head hanging low, unable to respond as the weight of the realization sinks in. Talk about a hard hit to the ego. Tang Cheng and Lian Yining, unfazed, walk away, with Tang Cheng warning her not to get involved with Yang. Yang, however, doesn't take it lightly. Furious, he demands that Tang Cheng repeat what he just said and asks when Lian Yining became his sister-in-law. Tang Cheng, not missing a beat, casually responds to Yang's outburst, telling him that since Lian Yining is so close to Lin Lu, it's only natural for him to call her his sister-in-law. Lian Yining, not one to be intimidated, warns Yang to stop yelling or she'll take action herself. Yang, however, doesn't back down. He continues his tirade, calling Lin Lu nothing more than a D-rank piece of trash. The idea of Tang Cheng calling Lian Yining his sister-in-law while she gets mad at him for using her name infuriates him. Pointing his finger at Tang Cheng, Yang bitterly shouts that Lin Luo, a mere D-rank priest, could never compare to someone like him and accuses them of looking down on him. Tang Cheng, fed up with the insults, grabs Yang's hand before he can make any further accusations. At the same time, Lian Yining steps in, draws her ice sword, and aims at Yang. She demands to know if Yang really believes that the man who brought them to the 26th floor is trash. Tang Cheng, unfazed by Yang's arrogance, smirks and tells him to open his dog eyes and watch carefully. With that, he pulls up his system interface, showing Yang exactly which floor Lin Lu is currently on. It's displayed clearly. Lin Lu has reached the 27th floor. Yang's face turns red with anger and disbelief. He can't wrap his mind around how a priest, especially a D-rank one, could have climbed so high. The people around them, having overheard the exchange, are equally shocked. The idea of a priest reaching the 27th floor seems impossible to them. Rumors quickly begin to spread, with some people outright refusing to believe it and even accusing Lin Lu of cheating. In the midst of all the gossip, a coordinator approaches and calls out Yang Horan, informing him that the deputy city guard wants to see him. The sudden summons catches Yang off guard, and he grows even more nervous as he makes his way over to the man who called him. Soon he arrives at the city guard office and is left speechless. The people waiting for him are high-ranking individuals, big shots, no doubt. His confidence quickly fades as he grows anxious, wondering why these powerful figures are interested in him. Not the kind of attention he was hoping for. The old man in the middle, noticing Yang's nervousness, speaks calmly, assuring him there's no need to worry, they simply have some questions. He asks if Yang noticed anything unusual while retreating from the 27th floor, such as poisonous fog or other abnormalities. Yang, still a bit shaken, replies that he didn't encounter any poisonous fog. However, there was something unusual. The Hellhound King, which should have been asleep, suddenly woke up and attacked their team. Though injured, the Hellhound King managed to escape back to the lava lake after their team fought it. He adds with a hint of frustration that he would have reached the next level if it weren't for the unexpected encounter with the Hellhound King. The group of men exchange looks, processing Yang's information. From what he said, it's clear that Dongfeng He's team, currently in first place, hadn't encountered any viruses, particularly the Black Death. This leads them to conclude that the virus wasn't naturally present in the tower. It must have been introduced somehow. One of the men suggests that the poison might have been brought in by a candidate, or more troublingly, by a member of the Fallen. Before they can dwell on that theory, someone else arrives with an update. The spread of the Black Death virus has mysteriously halted at the 26th floor. It hasn't spread any higher, and aside from Dongfeng He and Pan Chen, another candidate has reached the 27th floor. Naturally curious, the lords ask for the identity of this mystery climber. The messenger replies that it's none other than Lin Luo, a D-rank priest. Cue the dramatic pause. The room falls into a brief silence as the group processes the fact that a D-rank priest has somehow reached the 27th floor, Lin Lu defying expectations one floor at a time. As expected, the lords are stunned. It's the first time a priest has ever reached such a high level, and they're even more baffled when they realize Lin Lu was part of Lian Yining's team. They wonder how Lin Lu managed to climb so far while Lian Yining didn't. A bit of a plot twist they didn't see coming. Yang, still bitter, chimes in, explaining that Lin Lu's team was able to hold back a sea-level rock knight at one point, which seemed impossible to him. He's convinced Lin Lu must have cheated because in his mind there's no way a D-rank priest could have even reached the 20th floor. Suspicion fueled by jealousy always makes for good drama. The deputy chief, however, isn't so quick to believe the cheating theory. He points out that the Tower of Trials is a divine miracle, gifted by God, and even if someone tried to cheat, the most they could do was bring some special items to help with monsters. That alone, he reasons, wouldn't be enough for a priest to pull off these kinds of feats. He asks the others for their opinions, and the old baldy suggests that Lin Luo probably has some kind of unique skills. With that, the deputy chief decides it's time to investigate Lin Lu's background, because when a priest starts defying the odds, it's only natural to dig deeper. Meanwhile, Lian Yining heads over to see her aunt Qing. Without skipping a beat, Qing immediately asks her if the Black Death virus belongs to Lin Luo. Lian Yining, caught off guard, is shocked and asks how her aunt could possibly know that. Qing, always sharp, explains that from the 19th to the 25th floor, all the candidates were poisoned, except for Lian Yining and Tang Cheng. Plus, Qing notes that Lin Lu had cleared a secret realm, which made her guess that Lin Lu must be the one controlling the Black Death. Nothing slips past Aunt Qing's radar. Although most people are still in chaos due to the sudden appearance of the virus, Qing points out that it's only a matter of time before someone carefully investigates and figures out who the culprit is. Many of the infected students come from powerful families, and because of Lin Luo, they were forced to drop out early and score lower than expected. If the truth goes public, these families will seek revenge, and not the forgiving kind. Hearing this, Lian Yining becomes even more anxious for Lin Lu's safety. Worried, she asks her aunt what they can do to protect him. Qing, always a step ahead, tells her that the method will be her. Qing leans in and whispers her plan to Lian Yining, who listens carefully. After hearing it, Lian Yining feels hesitant. She suggests talking it over with her father first, but Qing immediately dismisses the idea, knowing that her brother would surely put an end to the plan. Nothing like a protective father to complicate things. Despite her initial reluctance, Lian Yining decides to follow Qing's advice. Her loyalty to Lin Lu outweighs her doubts, and she resolves to do whatever it takes to keep him safe, even if it means taking risky actions herself. For Lin Lu, there's nothing she wouldn't do. Meanwhile, inside the tower, Lin Lu stands in the midst of a pack of hellhounds, all of which are distracted by each other thanks to his reproductive excitation skill. Nothing like a little chaos to make the monsters forget about attacking. With the hellhounds preoccupied, Lin Lu continues his advance. As he reaches the lava lake, something unexpected happens. The lake bursts, and the Hellhound King emerges with a roar. Lin Lu, puzzled, realizes that the king should have been sleeping. However, as he takes a closer look, he notices the Hellhound King is badly injured. Someone must have given it a proper beating. Lin Lu quickly concludes that the Hellhound King must have escaped back to the lava lake after being hurt in a fight. Despite its injuries, Lin Lu knows the creature will still come after him. Without hesitation, he activates his staff, preparing for battle. The Hellhound King, despite its pain, begins gathering magic for a powerful attack. But Lin Lu stays calm, activating his Alzheimer's disease skill, which causes the target to forget or misremember its mastered abilities for a short period. Nothing like a little confusion to mess up a boss fight. Now, with the Hellhound King weakened and disoriented, Lin Lu seizes the moment. His plan is to take the beast down while it's still vulnerable. With a smirk, he delivers his pain package, a brutal combination of his pain intensification, diarrhea, skin-bursting technique, and blood fever, all unleashed on the Hellhound King. A custom gift just for the boss. The Hellhound King screams in agony, writhing at the edge of the lava lake. It panics, unable to process the overwhelming pain, but as it suffers, its eyes suddenly shine with a deadly focus, locking onto Lin Lu. This battle just got personal. At that moment, Lin Lu senses something off. For a brief second, he deduces that the Hellhound King is entering a berserker state, preparing for a powerful counterattack. But he quickly realizes he's wrong. The Hellhound King isn't gearing up for a fight, it's fleeing in fear. Without missing a beat, Lin Lu casts Mental Confusion, a spell designed to throw his enemies into a state of chaos. The Hellhound King, now mentally disturbed, turns its aggression toward anything nearby, including its own pack of smaller hellhounds. Confused and startled, the lesser hellhounds stare at their frenzied leader as it charges at them. Suddenly, a strong explosion erupts, and within a short span of time, Lin Lu successfully brings down the Hellhound King, killing it. He earns a massive 77,500 experience points, leveling up to 34. His attribute values increase by 1 across the board, and he gains 4 attribute points along with 2 skill points. Not a bad haul for a quick fight, especially when the boss helps take down its own minions. In addition to the experience, Lin Lu collects some valuable loot, a magic crystal, a flame shield skill book, and a burning dagger. The magic crystal is the life essence of high-level monsters and bosses, with a wide range of uses. It can be consumed, used in refining materials, or even incorporated into formations. Basically, it's like the Swiss Army knife of magic items. The Flame Shield skill book, a bronze-level item limited to mage professions, allows the user to summon a shield made entirely of flames. Not only does it provide defense, but it also has a counterburn effect, making any attackers regret their decisions. Finally, there's the Burning Dagger, a silver-level weapon that adds 15 additional strength, 30 skill points, and inflicts fire poison on enemies. Any opponent unlucky enough to be struck by it will be burned by fire poison, a perfect tool for any profession looking to add a little fire to their attacks. Lin Lu feels quite pleased with the rewards he has earned. He can't help but feel a sense of satisfaction, knowing that defeating a boss like the Hellhound King, especially one that runs away when overmatched, is no small feat. With only 2 hours left before the exam ends, Lin Lu wastes no time. He rushes toward the portal, determined to reach the 30th floor as quickly as possible so he can complete his job change mission. Time is ticking, and there's no room for delay. Meanwhile, inside her quarters, Morong Suyen has just finished taking a bath when her subordinate arrives with news. The first report is that Mai has disappeared after leaving the trial tower. Suyen instantly concludes that Mai is avoiding her, no doubt due to what happened inside the tower. Without hesitation, Suyen commands her subordinate to remove Mei's parents from their positions and cut off their family's financial resources immediately. She wants Mei to be out of Binhai within 3 days permanently. No second chances here. Suyen doesn't forgive betrayal easily. But there's more news. Her subordinate has also sorted out the latest situation in the trial tower and prepares to send the details to Suyen's interface. However, Suyen dismisses it, confident that Dongfeng He will be the top scorer in the examination, followed closely by Pan Chen. She has little doubt about the usual top contenders. Then the subordinate drops a surprising piece of information. Pan Chen and the others have already exited the trial tower, stopping at the 28th floor. And now, along with Dongfeng He, there's another unexpected contender, a D-rank priest named Lin Luo, who is also on the 28th floor. Murong Suyen is taken aback when she hears that a D-rank priest has reached the 28th floor. Intrigued, she quickly checks her system and reviews the rankings. She recalls Lin Lu was part of Lian Yining's team. She then discovers that a poisonous fog has spread throughout the tower and immediately deduces that this must be Lin Lu's doing. No ordinary priest would wield such power. Reflecting on Lian Yining, Suyen remembers that while they don't know each other well, they are familiar. Lian Yining always struck her as a simple, kind-hearted girl, someone without ulterior motives, just as gentle and transparent as water. A young lady from a big family, but with none of the arrogance that often comes with it. Suyen realizes that Lin Luo must have great potential if someone as observant as Lian Yining has placed her trust in him. Her subordinate, ever practical, asks if Suyen views Lin Lu as a serious rival. After all, she reasons, a bit of virus fog isn't much of a threat. Viruses are limited by the space they travel in, making it hard for them to have a significant impact outside closed environments. Suyen, however, laughs softly. She admits that she's actually a little excited by the idea of Lin Lu being more than meets the eye. Despite him being just a D-rank priest, the fact that he's climbed so high suggests that he may have more complex and trickier skills up his sleeve, and Suyen always enjoys a good challenge. Outside the tower, people are buzzing with gossip about Lin Lu's unexpected achievement of reaching above the 28th floor. Some are clearly annoyed, with one man insisting that Lin Luo must have used some special item to cheat. His companion adds fuel to the fire, claiming that Lin Lu likely used Lian Yining's family's resources to get his hands on powerful items. Lian Yining overhears their chatter and anger flares up. She steps in to defend Lin Lu, stating firmly that he didn't cheat. After all, she knows better than anyone how capable Lin Lu is. Tang Cheng, always the voice of reason, gently reminds her to calm down. He points out that people like them simply can't accept reality. Haters gonna hate. King, listening to the conversation, takes a step further and speculates that Lin Luo might not only break the record for Binhai City, but could even surpass the Imperial College students and become a national champion at the rate he's going. Big dreams for a D-rank priest, but not out of reach with how fast Lin Lu is rising. Curious, Lian Yining asks her aunt if the students from Imperial College are really that strong. King confirms this, explaining that while Binhai City's college entrance exam record only goes up to 26 floors, the Imperial Capital's record is as high as 29 floors, a big leap even by elite standards. The person who set that record, King continues, is none other than Zheng Meisen, a necromancer originally from Binhai City. Unfortunately, years ago, a major incident occurred that nearly wiped out the entire Zheng family. The surviving members had no choice but to flee Binhai City and become vassals to other clans, Zheng Meisen included. Tragic history for such a powerful figure. Lian Yining feels a sense of familiarity with the name Zheng Meisen and asks her aunt if she knew him back in the day. King, still gazing thoughtfully at the tower, dismisses the subject, saying that it's all in the past. She quickly shifts focus, remarking that with Lin Lu's potential, he has a real shot at winning the Wonder of the World reward. Quite the grand prize for a once-overlooked D-rank priest. Both Lian Yining and Tang Cheng are stunned by this revelation. King realizes they hadn't been aware that the champion at the end of the exam would receive such a prestigious reward. Talk about raising the stakes. While they're still processing the news, one of their teachers approaches, clearly impressed with their performance in reaching the 26th floor. She informs them that many people have been asking about them, representatives from the education department, the professional union, the city council, and even several influential families. The teacher cautions them to be careful as their success has garnered a lot of attention. Fame comes with its challenges. Tang Cheng, with his usual optimism, reassures the teacher, saying that Lin Lu had prepared them for such situations. They got their bases covered, at least in theory. Meanwhile, back inside the Tower of Trial on the 28th floor, the situation is far less comfortable. Level 40 harpies are flying overhead, while on the ground, level 42 bloodthirsty willow trees loom menacingly. Dongfeng He, struggling to catch his breath, kneels on the ground, panting. The difficulty of the monsters on this floor is testing him to the limit. His frustration grows as he reflects on how hard these monsters are to deal with, especially since his dragon was nearly killed in the battle. Dongfeng He starts to feel hopeless, considering stopping his ascent and abandoning the examination on the 28th floor. The monsters are too difficult, and his dragon is on the verge of death. But deep down, a part of him refuses to accept defeat. His goal is still far from complete. He's vowed to surpass Zheng Meisen and prove to the world that the Dongfeng family is the true #1 family. With renewed determination, he remembers the ice toad territory up ahead beyond the ice lake. If he can just push through, he'll see the entrance to the next level. A little more and victory will be in sight. While hiding and recovering, a harpy suddenly spots him. For a brief moment, he thinks this is it. This is where his climb ends. But to his surprise, the harpy pauses mid-air, looks around, and flies off. Confused, Dongfeng He assumes the harpy must have spotted someone else. But that doesn't make sense. He was sure he was the last one left on the 28th floor. He wonders, could there really be someone else? Curiosity gets the better of him, and he peeks out to see what's going on. What he witnesses leaves him completely shocked. The monsters aren't fighting. In fact, they're tangled up in what seems like a bizarre display of pleasure. The harpies, along with the other monsters, are caught in what can only be described as a group perversion game, filling the air with moans. This is definitely not the battle he expected to witness. Then Dongfeng He spots the one responsible, and his shock deepens. It's Lin Lu. Lin Lu, amused by the strange sight of monsters entangled in a bizarre cross-species scenario, can't help but comment to himself. Cross-gender is one thing, but cross-species, that's next level. The effectiveness of his skill, reproductive excitation, leaves even him a bit stunned. If it were any other day, he might have stuck around for the experience points, but time is running out, and he knows he needs to rush to the next floor. Unbeknownst to him, Dongfeng He is watching from a distance, utterly baffled. A part of Dongfeng refuses to believe a mere priest could reach this level of the tower. He starts to suspect Lin Lu must have a hidden profession, something far more powerful than anything he's ever heard of. A D-rank priest climbing this high, there has to be more to it. Annoyed by Lin Lu's unexpected progress, Dongfeng He makes up his mind. He can't allow Lin Luo to move forward. Determined to win at all costs, he apologizes in his mind to his injured dragon, resolving that no matter what, he must be the one to succeed. He summons an elixir, planning his next move. It's all or nothing now. Meanwhile, Lin Luo reaches the area inhabited by level 43 ice-poisoned toads. The moment he enters, an intense chill hits him, nearly freezing him on the spot. He remembers this place used to be a normal lake, but now it's a frozen wasteland. thanks to the massive gathering of ice-poisoned toads. The temperature in the depths of the frozen lake can plummet to 100 degrees below zero. Anyone foolish enough to rush in would freeze solid before they even realize it. Lin Lu knows he doesn't have the luxury of time, but traversing this icy terrain will take over an hour. He needs to figure out how to resist the cold. Then it hits him. The skill he acquired from the Hellhound King, Flame Shield. Priests are, after all, a type of mage profession, so he decides to give it a try. Without overthinking it, Lin Lu immediately learns the Flame Shield skill, unsure of what kind of mutation it might undergo for him. Fortunately for Lin Lu, the Flame Shield skill mutated into something far more useful, the Penicillin Phage Antibody Shield. This mutant skill not only devours any elemental power that comes close to his body, but it also generates permanent antibodies for the corresponding element. These antibodies can be released as a protective shield that not only guards him, but also creates a counter effect. Talk about a lucky break. This is no ordinary flame shield. When Lin Lu activates the shield, he's pleasantly surprised by its versatility. His body quickly adapts to the freezing cold, and the chill in the air becomes much more bearable. At this rate, forget the frozen lake, he's confident he could walk through magma pools, acid seas, and even the river Styx. But that's a challenge for another day. Right now, his priority is reaching the next floor. As Lin Lu steadily makes his way toward the portal, little does he know that Dongfeng He is right behind him, following his every step. Prepared for the icy environment, Dongfeng uses the flame stone he had set aside to keep the cold at bay. However, as he watches Lin Lu march through the area with ease like it's nothing, disbelief fills his mind. He wonders how a priest of all professions can be handling this as if it were just another day at the office. Dongfeng He, staring at his dragon with a steely gaze, mutters that a dragon shouldn't be bothered by a little cold. He tells the creature to swallow an elixir, which will double its strength for 10 minutes by burning its blood. The moment the dragon gulps it down, its body grows larger and more menacing, flames flickering around it. Determined to be the sole victor, Dongfeng He sends his dragon charging toward Lin Lu. The dragon surges forward, but Lin Lu's instincts kick in, and he dodges just in time. As he looks up, he's startled to see a dragon in the area. This territory is supposed to be home to poisonous toads, not dragons. But as he stares at the creature, he realizes it's a baby dragon. Lin Lu suddenly remembers that one of the top candidates, likely Dongfeng He, owns a dragon pet. Well, that explains things. But why would Dongfeng He attack him out of the blue? Lin Lu shakes off the confusion and acts quickly, summoning his lizardmen warriors. There's no time to dwell on Dongfeng's motives now. The lizardmen warriors charge at the dragon, biting down on its tough skin. The dragon roars in pain, thrashing around to shake them off. Lin Lu knows his summoned creatures aren't strong enough to take down the dragon, but they can buy him some time. Lin Lu strikes the dragon with his skin-bursting technique, causing the creature to roar in agony. However, its high defense limits the damage, and Lin Lu realizes it won't go down easily. Seeing the dragon in this area confirms Dongfeng He is nearby, though Lin Lu can't pinpoint his exact location yet. As expected, the dragon eventually slaughters all of Lin Lu's lizardmen warriors, but Lin Lu remains calm. Formulating a new plan, he intends to use the dragon to flush out Dongfeng He. Lin Lu activates his mental confusion skill, causing the dragon to suddenly turn and fly back toward where Dongfeng He is hiding. Dragons make great trackers, even if they don't realize it. The confused dragon lands near Dongfeng He, revealing his position. Startled, Dongfeng He quickly jumps away from his hiding spot, scolding his dragon for losing its focus. Now that his cover is blown, Dongfeng He activates his magic power and calls out to Lin Lu, challenging him to a direct fight. With his dragon having recovered from its earlier injuries, Dongfeng He sends it charging once more, determined to take Lin Lu down. Lin Lu reflects on how incredibly tough the dragon is, with its resistance proving difficult to overcome. But he knows one thing: Dongfeng He doesn't have dragon-like defenses. Lin Lu attacks Dongfeng He with the same mental confusion he had used against the dragon moments before. Dongfeng, taken by surprise, is shocked to find Lin Lu standing right beside him. He fumes with anger, declaring that Lin Lu made the worst mistake of his life by daring to challenge him in close combat on the 28th floor. Dongfeng, filled with rage, strikes at Lin Lu several times, throwing everything he has into the assault. But Lin Lu doesn't retaliate. He simply lets Dongfeng's attacks rain down on him. As Dongfeng rants about how there can only be one champion, he gathers all his energy for his ultimate move, Yellow Flash Strike, attacking Lin Lu with killing intent. Dongfeng watches as Lin Lu appears to scream in agony, wrapped in the destructive force of the strike. Confident and proud, Dongfeng laughs loudly, convinced that Lin Lu's hidden profession, whatever it may be, is no match for his role as a dragon knight. He basks in his apparent victory, Just as he's savoring the moment, Lin Lu calmly speaks, startling Dongfeng by asking, "Dragon Knight, what about your dragon?" Dongfeng looks down and to his horror realizes that in his confusion, he has mistakenly attacked his own dragon pet. The dragon writhes on the ground, injured from his master's own attack. Furious and confused, Dongfeng accuses Lin Lu of using some sort of trick to cloud his mind. Lin Lu smirks and responds coldly, suggesting Dongfeng should keep quiet, wondering aloud if he'll still be able to scream once his tongue is ripped out. Clearly, Lin Lu isn't in the mood for Dongfeng's monologues. Dongfeng, now enraged, shouts back that Lin Lu only managed to take advantage of his injured state. He warns Lin Lu not to get cocky and promises that he'll tear him apart in the individual competition tomorrow. Dongfeng uses the emergency return and leaves the tower. Lin Lu is amused by Dongfeng's tough talk. He can't help but shake his head, as Dongfeng still tried to act tough, completely unbothered by his embarrassment. Lin Lu thinks to himself how generous he's been, as he not only let Dongfeng go, but even prepared a little gift for his driving cub. But Lin Lu decides to drop the thought and moves on. Time is ticking, and his priority now is completing his job change mission. Without wasting another second, he walks away, focused on reaching his goal. Meanwhile, outside the Tower of Trials, the crowd eagerly watches as someone exits, still covered in golden light. With only 2 candidates left inside, Dongfeng He and Lin Luo, everyone is speculating about who it might be. Most people believe it's Lin Lu who has just exited. The 3 men whom Lin Lu had affected with his poison earlier are especially annoyed. They loudly accuse Lin Lu of being a cheater, convinced that he used underhanded methods to get ahead. Other candidates who were forced out of the tower because of the poisonous fog join in the chorus of complaints, blaming Lin Lu for ruining their chances. The crowd's not too happy with the priest's unconventional tactics, that's for sure. After a minute, Dongfeng He becomes visible, stepping out of the tower with his dragon pet by his side. Irritated by the crowd surrounding him, he snaps, asking if they all want to fight. The men in front, caught off guard, explain that they were simply shocked to see him emerge first instead of Lin Luo. One man, noticing something odd, points at Dongfeng He's dragon, commenting that something seems off about the creature. Dongfeng glances at his dragon, and just then, the dragon lets out a shudder, and much to everyone's horror, poops right there. The smell immediately fills the air, sending people into a chorus of complaints about the unbearable stench. Not exactly the grand exit Dongfeng He had envisioned. Fuming, Dongfeng He can barely contain his rage. He's certain this embarrassing moment is Lin Lu's doing. Furious and humiliated, he silently vows that tomorrow, after the examination, he'll tear Lin Lu to pieces. Lin Lu may have left a small gift for the dragon, but Dongfeng is preparing something much more dangerous in return. At the Dongfeng family estate, 2 members of the family are discussing the ongoing examination. One man, sitting confidently on a rock, expresses his certainty that Dongfeng He will claim the top rank in the competition. The family patriarch, Dongfeng Daizong, listens, though with less certainty. It's hard to say, Daizong replies, mentioning that there's still another candidate on the 28th floor, a D-rank priest. The ancestor, dismissive of the idea, waves it off, insisting that the priest must be using secretive tactics. He tells Daizong not to compare that guy to Dongfeng He. After all, Dongfeng He is destined for greatness with his superior potential. The ancestor, with the calm yet stern tone, reminds Daizong that, as an A-rank professional, his potential is limited compared to Dongfeng He's. He firmly states that the future of the Dongfeng family will inevitably be handed over to the one with greater potential, Dongfeng He. The ancestor adds that he understands Daizong's jealousy, but insists that Dongfeng He is still his son, and he doesn't want to lose another grandchild. Daizong starts to deny any jealousy, but his thoughts are interrupted by the sound of his watch beeping. He checks the report, and his expression shifts as he reads the shocking news. Dongfeng He has been eliminated before the priest, and to make matters worse, his dragon pet had an embarrassing mishap in front of everyone. The report continues, explaining that Dongfeng He, along with many other candidates, was overwhelmed by a terrible stench, leading to his public humiliation. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button, as today's like goal is 1,500 likes. Comment down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.